Who the heck is Pep Talks?
I'm not gay, but I fantasize about Marco Rubio. Pep Talks. Pep Talks. Pep Talks. Let's eradicate the Kung flu. I'm literally coming. Pep Talks. Pep Talks.
Who the heck is Pep Talk?
They want our women. They want our children.
Pep Talks.
Sometimes no means yes. Grab them by the
Pep Talk.
Grab them by the Marco Rubio. Obama is a racist.
Pep Talks.
I'm literally coming. I'm literally coming.
Pep Talks.
We found weapons of mass
Pep Talks.
destruction. My fellow Americans, it has been confirmed today from Pep Talks that we are indeed all high on politics.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to a new edition of PEPAGANDA, primetime PEPAGANDA. We are here. We are live. We're going to do something a little bit different today. We have a new format for this space. We have not done this. This is going to be, it's going to be a discussion, but dare I say you can call it a debate because we don't necessarily agree on everything, and we have not really brought on many conservative voices to this left-wing project that we have here on this space. So without further ado, I would like to bring on Johnnie Walker Dread. How you doing, brother?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can. Actually, I just need to, I'm glad that you asked that because I have to turn up my headphones. There we go. All right. If you guys do not know who Johnnie Walker Dread is, this is the man that brought Rashad Richey to his knees on the internet with his investigative prowess. Johnny, if you don't mind, would you give my audience a little bit of a breakdown of what you do, what kind of content you're into, and how you got into Rashad Richey?
Okay, I host the Johnnie Walker Dread Show on YouTube. I began with the sovereign citizen thing. This was back when hardly I was making the news hardly at all, but I decided to go into the sovereign citizen thing, and then Kyle Rittenhouse shot up a bunch of people in Kenosha, and that kind of distracted me. And then I went into more of the Black Lives Matter, police brutality area, and then that's kind of where I've stayed for the most part. And that's where I came across Rashad Richey because he was probably one of the most prolific race baiters, as I call them. And I know you probably don't like the term, but I use it.
Yeah, we'll go into it. Okay.
So, and I have probably about 200 videos on Rashad Richey alone. Major.
Can I just say something real quick? That in itself is a level of like, I could see where he would be like, this guy's obsessed with me.
Yeah. Well, it goes like this. One of the things that these guys do when they're in these positions of, somewhat power, I mean, he's not a small fry, is whenever somebody comes in with evidence against them, starts hammering them, they know they can wait it out. And, Nate the lawyer and Cam James exposed him and he waited him out. And after a week, they're gone, but they can't, shake me. And so he's really hoping that I would just leave him alone, but I'm not going to. And so,
I mean, I would argue that yours actually shaped Cam's, which Cam did do a 3-parter on, because his kind of went from exposing Rashad to TYT. Like he actually because I think that he was looking for his next, I guess, target, if you will. And it was so easy because it's just like, well, if TYT was turning a blind eye to this, then, why not kind of, go after them as well? Because I know that he also mentioned like the Rashad thing. So with Rashad, can you just kind of give a, you had talked about like how you went and interviewed the school about how, he had committed to, giving a certain amount of money to them and how they were hoping like this wasn't just him doing it performatively. And we had done a previous interview that got cut short, and I can't remember if we talked about it or got to it, but I was curious about what kind of came from that.
Yeah, I don't recall about how far we went into that, and I think we were talking about that when the stream went down. But
I kind of remember, yeah.
a school, a middle school in Massachusetts, had their treasurer take off with all their money, and it was like 30 something thousand dollars. And Rashad went on and made a big deal about the fact that, well, if they can't recover the money, I'll pitch in. And so he went on there, he got accolades, people coming in, you're the man, oh God, like this is the kind of person we need. And I talked to my co-host and I said, he has no intention of ever giving any money to these kids. And he didn't. And so in the end, we contacted the school treasurer and she said, we haven't even heard from him. And this was 2 months later. And so we told, well, you don't know that he actually went on and told you that he was going to give you the money? She said, no. So,
they didn't see the clip?
What's that?
They didn't see the clip? They didn't see that he like committed to that on air?
No, they didn't. They weren't aware of it at all. And so, of course, we sent them the clip, right? And so I actually have a screenshot of email they sent Rashad saying, hey, this is so wonderful that you promised this. I hope that this isn't just a ploy to get some PR. And it was. He in the end, because I hounded the tar out of him, he gave them $1,000 out of like the $18,000 that he really owed them from the promise, basically, so that he could say, well, I gave him some money, but well, in the end, he never had any intention of giving them any cash. And it reminded me of the Scott's Tots deal on The Office, right? Where Michael Scott promises these students that he's going to pay for their college careers, and he ends up not having enough money to do it. He has to go to the school and spill the beans. But at least Scott owned up to it, right? And Scott had good intentions. He just, put it, overpromised. But Rashad never had any good intentions. He did this as a ploy. He does this all the time.
Now, I'm going to just say this is speculative and your allegations. This is not the opinions of this space or any of the creators on this space, except for Johnnie Walker Dread here. Just want to make sure that is clear.
Absolutely.
But in this case, now you had mentioned that you got a hold of the people saying that, and they just told you that he had never done it. So did he actually commit any money, like at the end, like any?
Yeah, he owed about, when I say owed, he promised about 18,000 because that's what they couldn't raise. He gave them 2. I mean, but keep in mind, he only gave them that money after we had hounded the tar out of him to do it.
Well,
if we hadn't come in, they
honestly, that's fair. That's where it's fair. Like, honestly, Rashad Ritchie kind of did this to himself with that whole thing, with like you said, over promising. My biggest take on this that I came out of like all this drama with was, why the fuck would you go out of your way to have all these like false accolades or like these fake, degrees when you have all the accolades, you have the degrees? Like, you don't have to pad your stats, man. Like, the thing is, he actually is like a pretty accredited dude. And he's got a pretty at one point he had a pretty successful show on TYT. He was maintaining a decent audience there. He has a level of respect from a lot of other creators, which to just not expect this to bite you in the ass, doing it as many times as he did, like that kind of makes me think that like when you were starting to investigate him, he probably did kind of like shit his pants a little bit.
Well, keep in mind, his media career has been very successful. He's interviewed, Michelle Obama. He's interviewed Kamala Harris. So, and he has the TYT show. So he's not a small figure, but he has a real Achilles heel. And the Achilles heel is that he really badly wants to be thought of as a scholar. And it drives him. It's not enough to be famous. It's not enough to maybe make a difference. He has to have people thinking that he's brilliant. And so that's why he's creating all these fake degrees. At one point, he had 18 degrees. And of course, we went in and investigated him. And unfortunately, the show, by the way, I did send you the video again if you want to play it. But that's
right,
okay.
yeah.
But he's claiming degrees from schools that don't exist. He's claiming degrees from schools that, when they showed up to the campus, an investigative reporter, Der Spiegel, an old lady opened the door and it was her home. It wasn't a university at all. I mean, he's doing a lot of this. He manufactures fake degrees because when he announces them, he gets a lot of accolades back. Man, it's amazing how much of a scholar you are. I made the mistake of using the term Renaissance man once in one of my videos on him. And after that, all of a sudden, the term Renaissance man is being used by all these fake media outlets that he's created. And that's another thing that we never got to show, was that he has these fake media channels where they're written by supposedly third parties, but he's writing them himself. And they're, so he writes these amazing things like, physicists the world over are amazed at Rashad Ritchie getting his master's degree, right? And like a physicist would care. But he writes these things and then he publishes them under a third-party name to make it look like they're writing about him. So I've always said it.
I mean, that's us as fuck too. But
he's the guy who would fake his death so that he could listen to the eulogies. And I mean that literally.
I mean, so this is where I'm going to have my first disagreement with you. I personally think that Rashad Ritchie was taking advantage of diploma mills that were already out there. And he kind of did the thing where he thought it would just pad his accreditations and, kind of put to the forefront, like the ones that are real, while, like I said, padding his stats, where it's just like, no, he didn't think anybody might look too deeply into him. Also, there were a few of them that it seemed like he genuinely did believe that, like, it was kind of on the up and up, even though it was essentially a diploma mill. I don't know. Like, I'm trying to be fair here, but I'm also not going to deny that some of it's a little sketch for sure. It's a little sketch.
Well, by the way, Latina Mafuni says that I'm not the best person to be listening to when it comes to intellectual criticism of Ritchie. I am. Nobody has investigated his academic background to the extent that I have. Nobody. But I will say also that he's not real sophisticated in his understanding of how colleges work. So it's very easy for him to receive a degree that he thinks may be legitimate. But anybody who has...
Wait. Can you back up? What did you just say about... He doesn't know how colleges work?
Well, not really. In other words,
I was about to say, come on, man.
Here's let me explain what I mean by that. He doesn't have a grip on the understanding of how much work it really takes to get a legitimate degree. And so when he puts his papers in...
Wait, so are you arguing that he doesn't have any legitimate degrees?
Okay, here's the degrees that he does have. I'll tell you. He does have a bachelor's degree from, I forget the name of it, the Georgia School, and he has an MBA from there. I'm a little suspicious of both, but I'll grant him the credit for those.
What, Georgetown?
He did get what's that?
Was it Georgetown?
Oh, no, nothing like that. It was like the lowest rated college in Georgia. I'll think of it in a moment. But he then got an EDD from Clark Atlanta. But I read his dissertation. He couldn't have spent more than a couple of weeks on it. And the majority of the research basis for it was based on an undergraduate's capstone project. Yeah.
Okay.
So you see what I'm saying? He doesn't understand that, because I do have a legitimate PhD. And I've poured in 8 years into it.
Actually, real quick, my audience doesn't know you that well. Or actually, this space's audience also doesn't know you at all. So real quick, give me your breakdown on your credentials so they understand where you might have, the authority to kind of speak to this a little bit. But
okay, well, I have a bachelor's and a master's degree in physics. I then went into a quantum field theory course and found it to be like really, really hard. I said, I ain't doing this. And I had 2 kids. So I went into electrical engineering. I got my PhD in electrical engineering. And then I have served on, university administrations, not high level, but like assistant director kind of stuff. And now I basically am an engineer. I write, most of my work is based on technical writing now. I don't
Okay.
do really
What kind of
engineering. Or
engineering? I've
physics.
actually never asked you that. What kind of
Electrical.
engineering? Just
Electrical.
electrical engineering.
But keep in
Okay,
mind,
so
it's
can I
electrical
just ask real
engineering.
quick, just like an aside?
Mhm.
Are you one of those types of electrical engineers that like you can do like complex systems and all that, but you couldn't like get a new fan to work worth a damn?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's amazing.
got him.
It, but here, and I've always said this, my years in college just pushed really practical stuff out of my brain. Right?
Okay.
So I can't function normally. But no, my electrical engineering was centered in quantum mechanics. So
Okay. I just caught that vibe for some reason. We're just like, you keep saying electrical engineering, but I have a feeling that he couldn't tell me dick about like how to rewire my house.
right. And by the way, Latino Mafume, in my videos, you will always see the list of resources, all of the references that I use. There's no doubt about it. I am the man when it comes to assessing Rashad Ritchie's
Damn.
background.
Confidence is confidence, I guess.
Well, yeah, and and by the way, he's challenged me to a debate once. It was on Twitter. I accepted. He blocked me. So yeah, he's threatened to sue me 4 times. Yeah,
That is wild. The fact that he blocked you after challenging you. I mean, realistically, the fact that you've made 400 plus videos, like even Hassan Piker, I'm not sure if you know who he is. He has a prominent hater out there that it's literally 300 plus videos of just Hassan hate content. And even he addressed it where he's just like, this guy has how many videos of me? Like, oh God, and like,
by the way,
with it, he's like, maybe
200
I
on the
should
spot.
bring this guy on. Like, this is wild. But yeah,
Well, and the other thing is,
wild.
it's investigative journalism, right? When you write a book on somebody, you pour in thousands and thousands of hours. That's the way I view it. I'm an investigative journalist on this dude, and therefore I am not going to, just stop. The other thing is he keeps churning out fake degrees. So every time I think, okay, no more Rashad, all of a sudden a new degree pops up and I'm like, oh no. And I've said it on my videos many times. I said, I thought I was going to be able to get away from this guy, but nope. So, and by the way, Mitchell Carey.
So are you still making videos on him?
I haven't done one in a while because the Carmelo Anthony thing has really knocked me off stride. When I get a chance, and he has talked about Carmelo, so maybe I'll look at his videos on that. But it's been a couple of weeks, I think, since I've done anything on him. Oh, but I'm going to go back to him. I mean, I'll always be on him.
I mean, at some point, so I'm going to just ask you, like, personally, at some point, doesn't it just run its course, though, and get kind of boring? And, like, you just want to move on to something else?
No, what it happens is that the labor involved, and the labor involved in producing videos is really high. Yeah. And so it does wear me down. Like, this is a great story. I just don't have and I have a full-time job, so it's not like,
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta split your mental capacity. That's honestly like, I mean, a little inside baseball. That's why I do live streams and I don't have a lot of my stuff cut up, is because I just really don't have the extra time to go into the editing bay and chop up I do 8-hour streams, like 6 hours on average. Like, it's a little arduous,
Yeah, well, streaming is easier. I produce published videos, and the editing there is much, much harder. In fact, when I get really tired, I just do a stream because I just don't want to go through all that trouble.
I mean, I get that. Now, this is going to bring me to the crux of everything. And like, I'm glad that we started with Rashad, and a lot of my audience seems to kind of agree with you. And for the most part, just full disclosure here, this space has a lot of ex-TYT creators. Actually, Hank Thompson is one of the guys making a documentary on TYT, and Rashad Ritchie is part of this.
Oh, he needs to contact me.
Just say, like, we do have like a lot of talent from those spaces, and just in general, a lot of people that watch TYT, so they know exactly like what you're talking about. And I would argue that the Cam James angle really did him in. Like, Cam James has a level of respect not only in the Black community but also in the YouTube community that really brought some heat to this. Which it also, I would argue, expanded your profile. That's how I found out who you were
Mhm.
in the first place,
Yeah. And Cam really doesn't want anything to do with me. I've offered to, steer him in certain directions, like, hey, you might want to check this place out for more information. He just does not want anything to do with me. And it's political, but that's okay. I mean, I'm fine with that. By the
Well,
way,
we're
I don't know if
political
you know
here.
it.
The thing is, Cam James isn't necessarily political. Like he does have like his left, his leftist takes, but he does more pop culture stuff.
No, okay, maybe I haven't
and,
pegged wrong.
and I do know that he kind of he did levy the criticism that he thought you were MAGA. That's where even I got that when I first talked to you, and I was genuinely surprised that you're not.
Actually, he said I wasn't.
Oh, he did.
Yeah, he
He did
said
actually
he's not
clarify that.
MAGA, but he was like,
Okay.
and part of that was he
I thought
didn't
you were.
want anybody thinking that he was depending on a MAGA source for his stuff. Which, by the way, I'm not. I have no use for Donald Trump. Can't stand him.
I appreciate that.
But by the way, though, the one thing about Rashad that people didn't catch was he not only got fake degrees, but he set up his own fake diploma mill to pilfer money from foreign nationals. And I covered this thoroughly. And, he had a sitting judge in Atlanta on his faculty. This Cassandra Kirks, she's a judge. His lawyer was another one of the faculty. It was a total scam. I exposed that so badly that he ended up pulling it down.
I'm just saying.
By the way, by the way, keep in mind he never publicized that that fake university on his LinkedIn or anywhere in the social media because he was hoping I wouldn't catch it, but I found it. And so after a while, he pulled it down.
Do you think you live rent free in his head sometimes?
Yeah, I mean you see it because remember he creates a lot of fake news articles that make it sound like it's somebody else talking about him, but it's him.
Yeah,
and he's always mentioning.
He did get busted doing that egregiously too. Yeah.
Well, we busted him. We busted him years ago, right?
Yeah.
But he always mentions this one character, like 3 years ago, has been lying. He's a bigot, and he's talking about me, and he's really pissed off. He's
all right.
threatened.
Actually,
to
you know what? I'm
going
to stop you there because, like, the bigot part, the bigot criticism. Now, we kind of touched on this a little bit last time, and like this is where I do want to kind of get to the crux of this, is because, without stepping on any toes here, this did happen kind of privately. Like we were in the green room last time, and you sent me a story about a lawyer getting shot in North Carolina. And immediately when you sent me that video, I secretly was like, please be white, because I was kind of like, I don't want I don't want to automatically just be like, okay, this is 3 for 3, where this is another like attacking a black person or like going after a black person in the news. And like, I genuinely kind of started thinking, I'm like, wow, like, does he not get it? And this is where I want to levy this to you, where it's like, do you not see your biases in some of your news cover or in some of your coverage where you tend to go after black people, black creators, or even just like the Carmelo Anthony thing? Like, you tend to lean towards going after black people.
Well, keep in mind, remember that my major theme is exposing what I consider to be, let's say, race hustling, black supremacy. That's in my wheelhouse. And so my algorithm always feeds me like Richard Taylor, introvert rock star, Rashad Ritchie, Roland Martin.
You can't just blame the algorithm, because don't your interests, like, you're sitting here acting like it's more about the like what they're doing. So why wouldn't you be able to levy that like same criticism to a white person, even if it's not in your algorithm? I mean, fuck, Chud the Builder is why I brought him up, is because you don't need him in your algorithm. That's an easy story just to go look at. And like, honestly, this is why I was kind of calling you on it, because that's one that is in your wheelhouse. That's one that totally is in your wheelhouse, especially post Carmelo Anthony, where it's like, this would be the perfect one for you to focus on. And I'm not trying to do like content policing or tell you what to focus on, but I am saying like, this would have been one to kind of prove me wrong on this, where I kind of feel like it is racially motivated, because realistically, a guy like Chud the Builder, white dude, obviously he fucking was instigating this bullshit, so he can't use the self-defense ploy. And again, with the Carmelo Anthony thing, this is where Carmelo Anthony, I kind of agree a little bit. Like, I think that he lost all self-defense credibility when he went over to the 10. But the problem that I'm having is what everybody else has seen with the Carmelo Anthony case is the fact that it's been shown that he didn't have a fair trial necessarily because of his representation being complete ass, if we're going to be completely real about this. And also in general, because of the misrepresentation of the victim. I feel like that was something that was kind of prevalent in that case. But I want to get your takes on the Carmelo Anthony thing, then we can move on to the other stuff. And also, if you want to address my accusations here that you do have a racial bias, and we could go from there too.
Well, I do believe that Chud the Builder is guilty. And I have said it on my show many times. I've said, this does not look like this is justifiable at all. I had planned Chud the Builder videos, and then the Carmelo trial came in. And the Carmelo trial is just juicier, I guess, because you have the same stuff that's been cropping out when we saw Kyle Rittenhouse and Zimmerman and all those kind of things. The same stuff is surfacing. And so I got kind of obsessed with digging into that story. Once the Carmelo deal subsides, I probably will have a series of Chud the Builder stuff. But no, I am not. By the way, what Chud the Builder was doing was repugnant. I can't believe that a guy would go around doing that kind of stuff, but he's just trying to make money. I consider him, I've said this many times, he's just another Jack Doherty. Right? And
he's even worse. He's even worse than Jack Doherty.
Yeah,
the thing is, he had the racial aspect to it, and he didn't have like the bodyguard angle. Like Jack Doherty's just an annoying little shit at the end of the day. This guy was race baiting and then fucking doing the fucking pistol lift.
I tend to agree with you. I think that he's a real detestable person, and he's got some sort of mental issue going on there. I don't know what it is, but no. As far as I'm concerned, whatever punishment they meter out to him is well deserved.
Okay. I'm not sure if you saw the comment that I just showed. So
which one is that?
Why only focus on black folks, Dredd?
Well, again, my shtick is really, my theme is about the myth of police brutality. And I know you're going to disagree with that entirely.
Fuck yeah, I am.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fuck yeah, I am. I've been the victim
we should
of
do a
police
debate
brutality.
On that. We need to do a debate on that.
You're here. We got 2 hours booked for this. Let's go.
Okay. Well, let's do it a little bit later. Let me get done with this comment.
All right. Put a pin in that.
When for example, and I actually said on one of my shows, I said, look, I'd like to see this Carmelo Anthony thing. I went there and I looked and I streamed down looking for wild, crazy issues or takes on the Carmelo Anthony thing, but I didn't. They were all black, and so I'm sorry. I mean, I've tried, but I don't see when I see crazy takes. I'm biased in the sense
this is also my problem. Is you were so charitable to Kyle Rittenhouse, and
because he's innocent.
That is not, but that's not the fucking case with this. Like this is where your biases were showing. You know what I mean? Like you didn't use the same kind of objectivity that you were using with the Carmelo case that you were with the Kyle case, and this is where the racial part of this comes in, where it's so easy to look at your content and so easy to look at your obsessions and go, this guy, he does harbor at least some form of, I dare say, white supremacy, because it's like you're always focusing on black people. Like, and you can use the algorithm all you want, man, but that's kind of a weak argument. Like, you do know that, right?
Well, have you heard what I've said about Carmelo? I mean,
to be fair, I'm gonna just get this out of the way. I have not gotten to watch any of your content in like the last few months, and obviously I watched the videos that you sent me, but short of that, no.
Well, okay. So I have said that as far as I was concerned, well, first of all, when it first came out, I would actually get on people who said he's a murderer. I'd tell them, no, we have a trial coming up. We'll find out what the evidence is. And then I even published a video where I said, here's what I really think what happened. And it was really understanding of Carmelo. And I got a lot of flack for that. On a live stream, I caught hell because I said, I don't think that Carmelo is a bad kid. And believe me, you want to.
So you're not
I probably lost 20
least.
subscribers. I probably lost 20 subscribers over that. So
Yeah,
I
fair.
try to be as fair as I can.
Right.
And even I said that it's not first degree murder. And 1250 podcast and I, you probably have heard of him. We did a live stream together where we both agreed that this is probably not first degree murder. I was surprised by the first degree murder. Now I think I kind of understand why the jury said it. But
well, because
I was
realistically, as much as they were saying that the jury was going to be geared towards Carmelo with the 2 black jurors getting kicked off, and then the fucking their educator get fucked. Like that was one of the biggest ones where I was just like, this is red flag city, and you're telling me that this like judge didn't see that fucking snowballing on this community? Like, Jesus Christ, we're already dealing with the Supreme Court pulling their shenanigans with the voting bullshit. Now you're going to do this one too? Like, how much Jim Crow can we cram into 1 year?
Well, okay, I will counter that by saying that prosecutors don't want educators on juries. They don't. I mean, it's educators are especially
the prosecution. The thing is, the prosecution shouldn't get to fucking farm their jury pool.
Well, what I'm saying is that when the prosecution forwarded their argument that it was based on the fact that they're educators, this is a reasoning that the judges hear all the time. This is nothing new. Prosecutors hate educators because educators, especially since these are kids and they go to the same school district, they're likely to feel.
Oh, it was the same. All right. See, that's what I didn't understand. I wasn't sure if it was from the same district. If it was from the same district, all right.
They weren't teachers at Carmelo's actual school.
But that's the difference. That's what I mean. If they had not known him and they had never experienced him in a classroom, then they are just as valid as anybody else. That's insane. Like you can't. You're telling, oh my God, they're too educated. Well, that's a fucking red flag and a half. Are you telling, like, seriously, like, prosecutors don't like educated people? That's like Donald Trump saying, like, I love the poorly educated. I love them. Smart people don't like me. Yeah, okay, give away the game some more. Like, holy shit. Honestly, like, that's where, like, I could see why so many people got a problem with this prosecution, this is coming from where I even said, you kind of, like, prefaced that the first degree murder surprised you, right? That's where I kind of was, where I was like, I could see second degree here. Like, again, his self-defense fell apart, plain and simple. And like, that's where I could attribute that to the Chud case. But holy fuck, you add all the other layers and then the egregious bullshit that they were doing by putting up the fucking victim's dad, like on every fucking news feed, like get out of here. And then acting like, oh my God, Carmelo Anthony's mom left in a luxury sports car swearing at the courts. Yeah, you racist fucks. We get it. Like, honestly, focus on the fact that they have a car and she's mad that her fucking son got locked up. Not on the fact that this grifting piece of shit didn't shed a fucking tear for his kids sitting out there just going like, I feel like justice was done. Like, get fucked.
Rashad had a video with Sun Michaud. No, I don't know who that is. Keep in mind, the other side has been pretty bad too. We've had swatting incidences of the Metcalfs. We had Sarah Fields getting death threats. It's been a madhouse. This is worse than the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah, because this one's racially motivated there, dude. Like, because realistically, it was a skateboarder that got shot. White on white crime. This is black on white crime. There, come on, like Johnny. This is my thing. How do you not see that? Like, I'm asking genuinely, do you not see that angle before I brought it up?
What, the fact that the Carmelo deal is a big deal because of the race? Oh, I admit that.
Okay.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, the fact that it was a white boy and a black boy involved in this has everything to do with the absolute hysterics that have been going on, the histrionics. Oh, absolutely. Amazingly enough, a lot of people who were not that particularly active during the Kyle Rittenhouse trial have gone absolute ape shit over this the Carmelo Anthony deal. Charleston White has been a real problem. And then you have Dominic Alexander.
I don't know
who,
any of
in
these
my
people. Can you give a little
okay,
context to who they are?
yeah, Dominic Alexander was the spokesperson that they hired, who gave, when they had that first press conference, and he's the one that threw Jeff Metcalf out of the press conference.
Okay.
And he's the one who basically started the whole racial thing in the first place.
Well, no, because from my understanding, he threw Joe Metcalf out because they were trying to do look at the sad white parents bullshit. No,
Well,
dude,
okay.
this is my fucking problem with this is we're always geared up and more than prepared to put on the fucking, white crying mother and the white crying father and how his brother was holding him in his arms, but again, the second that you see Carmelo Anthony's family, it's very predictable the way that they fucking respond. And it's the same way with the same thing, like what you're saying here, where it's like, no, it's actually pretty fucking obvious why they wouldn't let Jeff Metcalf out into that press conference. Let's be fucking real, because it's one of those things. You can't sway the case that way, even if the jury's not involved. Like that automatically puts it into fucking like what I would call I'm trying to articulate this where like what's that word where they like can't bring it to court? You know what I mean? Like,
well, okay. So,
God damn it. It's hard to make a point when I can't think of the word.
Just to be clear, Jeff Metcalf showed up at the press conference but said nothing. Then when they told him to leave, he basically left. Dominic Alexander at that moment went up on the microphone.
Inadmissible, thank you.
And he absolutely lost it. And to the point where I was thinking, Carmelo Anthony's parents, you need to get in there and shut him up, because he was now all of a sudden making it about himself and about race and all that. And I think that was the first kind of opening shot of how this was going to go.
Oh, fuck off. No, this is where I'm going to just say it. Yeah. Okay. So they made it about race first before the fucking white, like the white parents could. Come on, dude.
No, actually,
this was always
Jeff Metcalf said, this isn't about race, and I totally forgive Carmelo Anthony for what happened.
He's so full of shit.
He said it, so that's all I can go by. But, once Dominic Alexander got involved, at that point, this was going to devolve into what we have. I mean, and by the way, Dominic Alexander, a real filthy, repugnant person, baby shaker, I call him, because he almost killed a 2-year-old shaking it. And,
did you see what happened today or just yesterday where a 1-year-old baby was shot here?
I heard about it. I don't know much about it, but I heard about it on the
because
news.
now apparently it's deemed worthy to use lethal force on a car that's running away from you.
Again,
because they learned from ICE.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of it to comment. I probably will after we get out of here, but it's just too new.
Yeah, they fired on a car and killed a 1-year-old baby. Just saying.
Yeah. I mean, again,
are we going to make that one do you think that one's not going to be made racial?
Oh, it probably already is.
Yeah,
I mean, look, these things become racial not because I make them racial. They become racial because that's what happens. I don't know what the obsession is, and both sides are bad at this. Why can't we just examine a case based on the facts and discard this?
The thing, this is where I even brought this up, is because you may do that, but I think that this is where I'm going to be fair here. Like you said about the algorithm, I think that you're not necessarily aware of your biases and how this might even be the first time that you've really even had it, like outside of your chat, brought to your attention where it is like, dude, it's it's almost obvious. Like, bro, like as I said, like, this is why I brought up the whole email that video that you sent me, where I was like, I was hoping that it wasn't the case, where I was like, come on, there's no way he has this much of a blind spot. And then I was like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like, and this is where I do want to be fair. Because I want my audience to know that Johnnie Walker Dread, again, not a Trumper. And also, I don't think that you're a racist. I think that you just it's almost like you accidentally slip into it through just the focus of your programming. You know what I mean? Especially lately.
I don't know. I mean, I've thought a lot about this, and there's something about the mannerisms or the arguments that a certain side makes that tends to get under my skin more than the others. By the way, I took Jumpsuit Pablo to task over his anti-Carmelo thing and lost subscribers over that one too, but I don't care, you know. So there's the quartering. I tore into him about Carmelo Anthony, and he's on solid MAGA. So I don't know. I mean, but
was that an interview, or are you were watching his content?
No. It was a reaction video. I played his video, and then I reacted to it. And yeah, people were really pissed off at me about it, but I don't care. I mean, I basically publish anything I feel like publishing. I have never cared.
No, I understand
much
that,
about,
but that's where again, like, the criticism comes up, because you are following and this is where I am giving you a little bit of leeway here, because I do understand how the algorithm push works. If you're anything like me, you go through like your front page and you're like, okay, this will be good for the show. This will be good. This will be good. Ooh, I like that. But again, like, I don't want to be a dead horse here. Do you you at least understand where it's just like it can be perceived this way, especially from leftist contingent, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I think about it all the time. And in fact, I even tell myself, Johnny, come on, man, another, but this one is so good, so juicy. I got to do this. And that's what happens all the time. And I'm quite aware of the perception. I'm not trying to deny that.
But that's where you should and this is where I'm going to come off as just like, I don't know, content brother here, where you might want to be more aware of that, man. Because like, honestly, bro, like, you are more nuanced than a lot of people give you credit for. You should be able to have like something be played of your clip and not as automatically have a shithead like me just go like, well, this guy's a racist MAGA chud. You know what I mean?
No, like I say,
and like, realistically, it's because, and like, I hate to say this, it's almost like you pigeonholed yourself with it because of just your singular focus on the creators that, you know, like I said, piss you off, but they just happen to be black.
But there's a point at where you become, you know, non-genuine. You're posting stuff to make it look like you have a certain, you know, fairness about you. I don't want to do that either. I post whatever I feel like commenting on, and whatever criticism comes my way, it's the way it goes, you know.
But you just kind of said, you do want to be seen as fair. You do want to have nuance to your criticism. So like, I can speak for myself. I've gone out of my way to find stuff that would not pigeonhole me. You know what I mean? Like, actually, a perfect example of this is I started getting some criticisms from some right wingers where they're like, you don't watch a lot of Fox News. I'm like, well, fuck off. I'll watch some Fox News then.
I will say this. If people want to send me any kind of like illogical, stupid, harebrained takes on an incident that, you know, is on my radar, I'm more than happy to look at it.
Okay.
But
hold on. I actually have to bring this back. You said you started with sovereign citizens, right? 99% of sovereign citizen videos that we have watched on my channel are white people.
Yeah, that's probably because you haven't covered the Moors. There's a ton of them.
I mean, I cover pretty much anything where I type in sovereign citizen arrest and then watch it. Like, we just did this last night. I had probably 90% of the, if you just looked that tag up, all watched. You know, I would consider myself kind of a connoisseur of sovereign citizen content.
And there's an interesting reason why, though. And the reason why you see a lot of white sovereign citizens is, one, I think the breeding ground for it is home-based learning. I think a lot of sovereign citizens are basically homeschooled. And that's what, and you know what the demographics of that
Oh,
are.
damn.
What?
Chat, you heard that. That's actually, wow, I never thought about that. That actually kind of makes sense. I know a bunch of homeschoolers, and I will be damned if that doesn't kind of fit the whole like the mold for like how they kind of get to that. Oh, okay. I've never had that angle brought up. That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up.
Well,
But
and I even have a video on what is the mindset of a sovereign citizen, because my videos were about the psychology of the sovereign citizen movement, not like oh man, he busted out his window, all right, I didn't care much about that. But what I was interested in is why they do these things. And another reason why is you have a bunch of people who are largely uneducated, but most of all really bristle under authority. And if they can find something that they can know more than that person with the badge knows, then they can walk him around that car with their logic, and that
yeah, I mean,
instills
yeah,
pride.
I also watch audit channels, so no, I know the difference between an auditor and a sovereign citizen. That's what got
In
me
fact, I
going with that.
I had a video planned on comparing the two side by side. Sovereign citizens to me come across mostly as harmless idiots. I can't stand auditors.
I wouldn't call
God,
them fucking harmless. I mean,
well, I mean, they
I
can
kind of
be.
say it on my
I
own
mean,
show where it's like, dude, they make it harder for all of us. Like, I'm by
sure.
no
I
means
mean,
pro cop.
what I
Like,
mean by
I've had
harmless,
my
they're not
own run-ins with
violent.
the police, which we will get to. But also, I do want to know this: does Johnny know anything about the Cheeky Rick Chow
Chow
case?
case. Yeah, that's another one I've got planned coming up. I don't know. I know that the allegation is that he shot a black kid that was running away from him, and that there was no real good reason to do so.
Okay.
I don't know much beyond that. I'm going to have to investigate it. My question would be, if 12 jurors all decided that this was self-defense, what did they see? They must have saw something, and I don't know if it's legitimate or not, but I'll have to check that out. But this whole idea
Also,
somehow that it was obvious not self-defense, well, there had to be something. They must have saw something that caused them to think, and I'm not saying it's legitimate. I mean, let's face it, juries can get things wrong. But I mean, the whole idea somehow that, well, he's Asian, so let's just all say that it's self-defense. That didn't happen.
okay, and then the next one
Opposites are not
was,
yeah.
if Johnny Walker Dredd loves science so much, why does he reject the scientific consensus among social scientists on subject of race?
I don't know what that consensus is. What's he talking about?
Honestly, I don't know. Latino, if you don't mind giving a little bit more background there, and then we can tackle that as we continue here.
Are you familiar with Roland Fryer?
No, I'm not.
Okay, Roland Fryer is a Harvard professor of economics. He did probably the largest scale study of what cops' interaction with suspects of varying races. And what he found was interesting. He found that when it came to low-level kind of pushing around, shoving people up against cars, there was a statistically significant difference between how cops treated black suspects versus white. When it came to more extreme, okay,
I experienced that. Me and my friend got pulled over. They busted out my friend's window, pulled him out, and then they opened my door and unbuckled my seatbelt. And then asked me, like, where's your dad? So I've experienced
what he
this.
also found, though, was that when it came to more extreme measures, and that's typically when a police officer opens fire, there was no difference at all. In terms of the fact that when it came time for the police to take deadly force action, they didn't seem to care whether the person was black or white. And he actually had to get security because he got death threats and all that over the publication of that research. That's kind of what's going on here, right? By the way, Roland Fryer is black. He's from the ghetto. And he even said at the start that he was surprised by the results. But guess what? He had to publish them, and he was told not to by his colleagues.
I feel like that's an different generation thing. We call it the hood, but okay.
Well, I think ghetto is a little broader. I think ghetto could be white or black or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm old.
I lived in the hood.
Oh, really?
That's why I'm like,
yeah, I never did.
All right. Johnny did not convince me of anything.
Okay. I'm sorry. I mean, I tell it like I think it is, and a lot of people just don't believe me, but that's fine. You know, I mean, I knew I was walking into a tough crowd.
No, hey, that's why I can actually commend you on this one. It's not easy to walk into the Lions Den, and I have to do something that even I've been extended on other right-wing panels where I do appreciate you being here, willing to take the criticism and face the chat. That is, that in itself is takes some balls, man. Like it really does. But, okay, so we can get into the cop thing here in a minute, but I do want to kind of just finish up. So on your opinions maybe not even your opinions, what's your assessment on what's going to happen with this Carmelo Anthony thing? Like, cause you saw he got sentenced to 35 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that he can appeal this? Do you think that stands a chance? Or do you think that he might have like a time served situation because it is one of those cases that was like, yes, the jury just determined first degree, but the people that run the jail and like the specifically like his parole officers or whatever, I forgot what they're called, like the panel, like where they would just be like, well, it was a technicality, so maybe we'll good time served or whatever. Like, do you see that being a thing in his future?
Well, he was out on bail, so he doesn't have any time served. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're saying there.
I just mean like essentially like a shortened sentence because they think that he was kind of, unfairly prosecuted.
Appeals courts can rule on that. Appeals courts are going to only look at the evidence that was presented. And even then, it's only about the procedures that were used to enter the evidence and stuff. They're not going to retry the case. So what can he appeal on? They will probably appeal on the whole idea of having the black jurors thrown off. That'll be one. Other than that, I don't know what they can appeal on. But then again, we didn't get to see it. So unlike Kyle Rittenhouse, where there was all kinds of shenanigans and we got to see them right in front of us, I don't know what went on behind the scenes. And unfortunately, this case has brought out the liars, and everybody has claimed to have been inside and watched the video and all that. This is like Woodstock, where everybody claims to have been there, right? And you think, how many millions of people were at Woodstock? It's the same thing with this. There are people who were just simply lying about being inside the court and what they saw. So I don't know, but
that happens a lot.
I don't think that Carmelo has much chance on appeal. I think that ultimately, in the end, he's going to probably end up, well, he's eligible for parole in 17 and a half. It's hard for a person to stay clean, especially when you have a highly racialized problem like with what Carmelo entered into. It's hard to stay out of trouble in prison, and then it's unfortunate. I mean, my feeling about it is, you sentence the person for 10 years, he serves the 10 years. You don't need any extraneous punishments on top of it. You don't need to teach them a lesson. The punishment is the lesson. And so,
look at the way that most people respond to this shit, though, where they're all just like, hope he doesn't drop the soap. Like, all that fucking bullshit.
Yeah, and by the way, Jumpsuit Pablo was one that was pushing that. I got on him about that. Not personally, I reacted to one of his videos. I have no use for that kind of talk. It's just, they sentenced him to prison. That's what he needs to do.
Okay,
but
so here's where, all right, Latino Mafune comes in and says, I'm talking about how historical systems of political economy have created inequities of power that need to be understood to address subjects relating to racial politics.
okay, can you put that on the screen because I'm not
Absolutely.
following that. Okay,
Absolutely.
talking about how
All right, so
historical systems.
if you don't mind, I'm going to let you debate this comment right here just for a hot minute. I have to piss so bad,
Okay,
and
go
I
ahead.
didn't get to do that. So
I
thank you.
can I can spend the time on this, no problem. Okay, so I think what you're referring to is that because of the system, the situation that blacks were placed under, and Indians too, that the systems that have been put in place have been, you know, let's say directed against them, target them. And I do agree that there's probably some of that, but keep in mind, people are talking like this is 1960. It's not. We have moved on from 1960. Things have changed. It's no longer like that. For example, Derek Chauvin was found guilty. Okay, he wasn't let off. He was found guilty, and I think rightfully so. The McMichaels were found guilty in the Deep South. I think it was mostly white jury. They found him guilty. I think that people, for the most part, can shed the whole racial dynamics and make the right decisions if the system is, you know, is well prepared. But I just don't see this whole deal where, like, well, he's black. What chance does he have of getting an acquittal? It turns out he has a pretty good chance of acquittal if he's innocent.
Oh my God.
But the trouble is that a lot of times they're not. And if the person's guilty and you find him guilty, you can't turn around and say it's race's fault. I'm sorry. I don't buy into that. Okay, I kind of stumbled around a lot there, but I tried.
Oh, it's all right. What's the summary on how you broke that down? I wish I would have
Yeah,
had my
I
phone
mean,
on me, but dude, I had to go.
okay, but anyway, let's get back to Carmelo Anthony, I guess. Was that what we're here
Well,
for
no,
tonight?
actually, since we're at the 9 o'clock hour, let's go into what we can get into the police debate here, man.
Sure.
Because I think that we have a pretty hard disagreement on this one. That's why I brought
Oh,
up my
yeah.
story here. But also, before we do that, our disagree, Dread. Things are bad. And then it's not like that anymore. He calls
Black people blacks. What?
Did,
I mean,
did
I
you?
can use African Americans. Would that be better? I don't know.
I would call them black people. Because they don't call us do they call us what?
Whites? Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard the term whites mentioned a lot. I mean, that's common. I don't think there's anything there. I don't see how getting into the whole idea. Well, he used this word. Come on. Now, if I use the N word, okay, I get it. But come on.
Well,
Let's talk
no,
about
because I
important
understand where they're coming from. Like, dude, that's all right. So, where are you from? I actually kind of forgot.
I'm from Oklahoma.
You're from Oklahoma. Okay. So, like, it does kind of and this is where it sucks because, I mean, I'm myself a Yankee here. And when I hear somebody using the term blacks, immediately I do kind of go, like, well, you're not using the N word, but you are marginalizing in a way that, like, is, dare I say, condescending just in the way that you use it, you know?
Well, first of all, I don't remember using the term blacks, but maybe I did.
See, now that's where more so where I'm like, I see, this is where I feel like it's not fair because I wasn't here.
Right.
Why did this happen while I was pissing? Because, yeah, if you didn't say that, or like, here's the thing, because, like, whether or not you said it, you did just actually kind of defend, like, saying it, like, even if it had you, I don't know. Like, do you think it's okay?
If it's okay to say whites, I don't see any problem with blacks. I mean, explain to me why it wouldn't be. I don't know. But again, I really think that this is really inconsequential.
I mean, blacks is the word they use. used to use in place of the N-word. Well, I mean, now we use the N-word in place of the actual N-word. I mean, like it, I don't
Are
know.
we going to spend all night on this?
No,
Come on.
I could see where eventually this does go in circles as semantical. And I mean, like I said, the one I'm more interested in is where like we fall on the police side of things here. But also like what my whole purpose of even bringing that up again was the fact that it's like I guess if I have a broader vision of what I want out of this is that I would do you at least see how this is perceived as being like racist, like and how like your like focus of content can be perceived as being racist, you know what I mean, even though it's like it is more nuanced than that, but I'm talking about on the face perception.
I think that a person who's predisposed to look for that kind of stuff could see that,
Mhm.
but I've never tried to veer away from that. I mean, I tell it like it is. I call it like I see it. And I tend to not couch my language that carefully. But if somebody is looking for it, they'll find it. I mean, that's the way it is, unfortunately, with all of this. I mean, you know, that this whole thing with Carmelo Anthony was probably not race-based, but all of a sudden it became it because people were looking for it. And
Well, yeah, but also, I mean, look at, I guess, like, look at the culture, like, behind it, though. Like, the fact that it happened in a southern state, the fact that it, you know, football state, like, is another thing. I've kind of noticed really plays into it. And just in
how so?
general, how, like, just so I've always found that, like, those football towns, they always do kind of have, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, more of an edge to them, you know? Like and then finding out that they were like from a rival school and all that kind of stuff. I was like, okay. And then this is where I still think to this, like, there's nothing going to convince me that like Carmelo should have been at that tent. Like, I saw the argument that his friend invited him there, but it's like, dude, the second that he was asked to leave. You know, and then when they said like he got shoved, and then it's like, and then he pulled out a knife because he felt like his life was there, and I was like,
Okay, keep in mind there are girls there, and they can change the dynamics quite a bit. He's being told to leave, but there are girls there watching. And it's quite easy to cop an attitude like, no, you know, because they're watching. No, I ain't going to do what you tell me to do. To hell with you. And this is where pride comes in. And so I have done, I think, a really good job of trying to understand the adolescent mind. And that's the reason why I've actually supported, I wouldn't say support, I've understood Carmelo's kind of thinking more than most people, because I do spend a lot of time trying to think, what is it like to be a 17-year-old in this situation? But at the same thing, Hunter and Austin were also adolescents. And they were saying like, well, they had no authority. These are athletes. They're 17-year-olds. Of course, they're going to go in there and take care of it themselves. I mean, they don't go running to the coach and say, oh, coach, there's a guy under our tent. No, they're going to go in there and say, hey, get out of here. So I think that Carmelo and Austin, to a large extent, were behaving like adolescents typically do. Mm-hmm. The problem is when you pull the knife and you stab a person in the chest with it. That's when things get
it's a
So here's what I think happened. I think that Carmelo reached into his bag, grabbed the knife. Austin didn't think he had one. He grabs the bag to push it into his chest, like, here, get your bag, you get the hell out of here. That's when Austin pulled the knife. The trouble that Austin had was given the warning that if you touch me, this is going to happen, or whatever it was he said. That can be interpreted as premeditation.
Well, that's where, like, okay, not even trying to like pivot to Chud the Builder, but that's what happened today. That's why his bail was denied, because there was footage showing that he actually fired first.
Are we talking about the which you say today? Which incident you're talking
Chud
about?
the Builder got busted blatantly in a lie where he had fired on the guy like first, like he had pulled up first. And that's why they denied his bail just blanketly. No more of this fucking split it into 5 different, like, you know, bail bondsmen or any of that crap.
Well, first of all, and I've said it, I don't see any instance where what happened to Chud was worthy of a lethal response. And that's a lethal response. It didn't matter if he kills him, right?
Yeah.
So you have to be really seriously in a bad way to justify pulling a gun. I carry a gun all the time. And I'm always thinking, like, under what circumstances is it okay for me to pull a gun, right?
I mean,
and
this is why I always make that argument. Like, I'm not your typical leftist. I am a 2A guy myself. Don't have a CC here in Chicago. Don't feel like I need one necessarily, to be completely honest.
Here in Oklahoma.
That's wild. Why? Like, what the fuck are you dealing with in Oklahoma? Jesus Christ. Like, people literally talk about how I live in Chirac and how I should be afraid. I'm like, well, I'm not. You know,
I'm not either.
Who gives a shit? But no, realistically, this is where I was going to say, like, you strike me as somebody that actually respects the fire, like the whole, premise of a firearm. Like I have immense respect and the appropriate amount of fear, even of my own weapons. Like, I'm just like, no, this is like how, like, I will always practice, like all of it, all the safety, and that's where, as I said, like, you kind of strike me as the type that at least does that. But like you were just saying, what is your line? Like, what would need to be that line for you? And I'm not sure like what your state law is either. I'm sure you're probably aware of it.
It's pretty much the same line everywhere. I mean, there's very minor changes, but you don't open fire unless you fear serious bodily injury. I mean, that's pretty much it. And that goes for guns or knives or whatever. I cannot fathom how Carmelo Anthony felt that he was facing serious bodily injury.
The might have been facing an ass kicking.
Yeah. Well, keep in mind that the eyewitness testimony didn't make it sound like he was really even facing that. Really? But even if he was, no, I mean, for the most part, what happened when I read the eyewitness testimony kind of jibed with what I thought was happening all along. And that is, they were kind of just pushing him out of the tent area to get him out. And that's when he stabbed him. There's no evidence at all that Austin or Hunter actually physically assaulted him in a violent way. I mean, technically, pushing a guy is an assault. I wouldn't call that a violent assault. But you have to really keep in mind, Carmelo Anthony is a football player. I mean, he's the team captain of his football team.
And trust me, I understand some of that. That's where, like, this is an interesting case where, like, on its merits, even I was kind of like, it doesn't sound like he's got a very strong case. I mean, I look at like the legal side of things where I'm just like, and just how it tends to go, where it's just like, okay, I mean, I don't care, like, who it is, does it meet the criteria for self-defense? And I looked at the criteria in Texas. It's very similar to, Tennessee and like other states. And I was just like,
Well, the issue is here, he clinches the knife and he issues a warning. Now, at that point, is he thinking that he's going to stab Austin if he's pushed? If he is, that's first degree. I kind of tend to think that he wasn't. I tend to think that he basically surprised himself when he pulled the knife and stabbed Austin.
Like that movie scene where you're just like, he's standing there shaking. Like,
yeah.
Oh, fuck.
I do think that Carmelo was probably walking around. He's probably in a bad sort. Maybe he broke up with his girlfriend or they had a fight or something. And he was just wasn't going to put it.
That's unnecessary speculation in this case.
Whatever it was. I mean, I'm thinking that he was probably walking around and he probably was telling himself, I'm not going to take anybody's crap today. Right. And here comes Hunter and Austin. And I think that at that moment,
for real, is this just your speculation, or are you going based on something that was I was about to say, I haven't heard any of this bullshit.
I'm actually kind of bending over backwards to try to see it from Carmelo's standpoint.
No, I get
And
it. I get
you
it,
know,
but it's all. I mean,
oh, sure, sure. I mean,
yeah.
I'm guessing that it's a wild guess that he was kind of like walking around and he would kind of told himself that nobody's going to push me around today. And Austin and Hunter came over, and I don't think he was prepared for that. I don't think he actually thought that this was ever going to happen. And they got in his face, or at least Austin did. And I think at that moment it was a time of truth where, do I walk out with my tail between my legs or I do something? And I think he just made the wrong choice. And if that's the case, it's second degree.
Yeah.
Under no circumstances do I think that Carmelo went into the tent with the idea that he was going to kill somebody. No. And a lot of the right wings say that, but no, I ain't buying that. But
now,
the
to
question,
pivot just a little bit, I do want to get to the cop thing. But I do just want to, like, this is just a personal thing for me. After having this discussion and also having like me kind of bringing this to you, I guess I could just say, are you more apt or willing to start focusing on different races, because it obviously has permeated your algorithm? So like you would take that extra step to kind of be fair about it, where you're like, it's just like, okay, you know what? Like, I'm not saying like type in, oh, what white crime or what Asian crime happened today, but realistically, you know what I mean? Like if there's a bigger case, then you could just look at it and go, okay, I'm going to focus on this, today, because it's pretty much the same. Like I said, Chud the Builder is a good one to start with, because I do think that you have at least 3 to 4 videos that you could easily pump out with that one. And it would kind of, dare I say, be like a mea culpa, where it's just like, hey guys, I recently kind of saw like this could be taken a certain way.
well, I tell you what, you have Chud, and then you have the police shooting. Any others that you want me to look at? I'm kind of curious. I mean, is there something that's come up?
Recently, I mean, do you do anything but these types of things, or do you look at like protests or any of that kind of stuff? Actually, like the Alex Preddy and Renee Good shooting?
No, I stay away. Well, okay, that one there, I don't recall, but I could not get on that one at the time. But I don't do like political stuff. I'm not going to do there about Trump's
That's not
latest
necessarily
policies or
political.
whatever.
That's not necessarily political.
Well, no,
It
I'm
is
saying
actually,
that one there might be okay.
It's technically policing.
Yeah, I mean that one there would be in my wheelhouse.
Now,
But
you avoid that specifically because you do understand that a lot of your audience would be upset?
no,
Okay,
no, I've
fair.
done
All right.
plenty of videos where I'm like, okay, they're not going to like this
yeah.
one, but that's
I mean, channels our size losing 20 subs on just one opinion. Yeah. When you said that, I was like, all right, well, at least you're willing to off your own audience.
I do have one plan on Michelle Obama's bachelor's degree
Jesus
capstone
Christ.
thing, and like people sent this to me, like, can you believe how bad it is? And I read it and I said, it's an undergraduate. I mean, how scholarly are you expecting it to be? It's an undergraduate.
Actually,
we all learned at that time.
You said it though. Like, this is where I'm gonna call bullshit, because you say you don't like to be political. How would you not see that as being overtly political right off the bat?
What do you mean?
Even covering anything Michelle Obama related. Like you just said that you don't want to cover the Alex Preddy thing because, or like any of the ICE stuff into the Trump stuff because it's too political. Bro,
I'm glad you brought it up, because I do have a playlist. I do actually have a lot of videos devoted towards dismantling dissertations and theses. And somebody sent me that one. It's like, hey, look at this one. So I opened it up.
This is where my whole point comes up. Like, so you chose that one because, like, this is where I see it, where it's like, you just said it. You have so many come your way, and you're like, well, I mean, and then not applying the whole, well, I don't want to make it political because that would be outside my, my comfort zone of, my content. You know what I mean?
I actually defended her. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't published the video yet.
Well, but egg on my face.
What's that?
I said egg on my face. Sorry that I assumed, but to be fair.
But even on Twitter, I responded back to all the people who were saying, well, this is, I said, It's an undergraduate capstone. It's not that bad.
Here we go.
It's fine.
Cover Musk's BS credentials.
I didn't know he had any. Like, what are the? I don't know much about his background.
I mean, he essentially stole Tesla and pretty much everything, and like lied his way into his fortune after buying the right things. I mean, honestly, you could probably make a month long series of just what Elon has lied about.
Well, there's another problem, and that is I don't like to cover stuff that's already been thoroughly trashed. But I will say, if he has faked an academic credential, a dissertation is copped up that obviously is bad, I will definitely cover it. I hate Elon Musk. I can't stand him.
Well,
but
I mean,
yeah. But again, there's another reason why I don't do Trump's whole ridiculous Penn University degree. I know very well that he probably got some strings pulled to get in. And I know very well that he probably didn't put the work in to do it. But everybody has already done that. They've already.
No, not really. Johnny, to be fair, I haven't seen any of that shit. And I actually look for that kind of stuff.
Well, if I could find some real good hard evidence.
You could even tie that to the fake Trump University bullshit and all of his other scams. The guy is literally a fucking plethora of content on that one. And honestly, I'll just speak for myself, bro. I'm personally interested to see that from you. Like, I would watch those videos from you immediately because I'd be like, oh shit, this is a pivot away from everything that I already kind of had the preconceived notion on. And then I'd be like, yeah, because I am genuinely interested in your anti-Trump kind of ideals. And then you take in the academic side of it where it's like, it's bullshit. Like you just said it, but you're, dare I say, somebody even said it in here. You're like a good investigative journalist, right? Why not apply that here? Well, I mean, you've done 400 videos on Rashad Richey. Come on, man. Like, in some way you are.
I don't have access to Trump's grades. I don't have access to any of his work.
I'm sure you can.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, well, I don't think so. The fact that, well, I mean, if somebody could send it to me, I would love to look it over. I don't like him. I can't stand him. I think he's a incessant blowhard.
People in chat, just kind of remember, take note of that. Send it to me, and then I'll send it to Johnny.
Absolutely, absolutely. By the way, somebody said he has a Bachelor of Arts in Physics. What even is that? It's a Bachelor of Science and, physics. It's the queen of all sciences. But I'm very proud of my physics background. Can Johnny tell me what redlining is and why? I have no idea what redlining is. I'm sorry. Never heard of it. He says, I don't care what he has to say. Well, okay, you have a litmus test on redlining. Fine. I mean, I just don't know what that is.
Redlining is the illegal discriminatory practice where financial institutions and insurance companies systematically deny loans, mortgages, insurance-based on the racial or ethnic demographic or neighborhood that a person lives in.
Yeah. Okay. Now that you've said that, it does ring a bell. And keep in mind, I'm not going to deny that certain races and groups have been badly treated in this in the history of this country, and they still are. American Indians, by the way, get left out, and I have worked with the American Indian communities on past grant projects. You want to see some poverty? You haven't seen anything until you went out into a reservation in like Arizona or South Dakota. I mean, they have average lifespans in the 40s.
Jesus.
So there's American Indians have been
what's going on out
slaughtered.
there? Like why lifespans in the 40s? Like, is it cancer? Is it what is it?
A number of things. One is that there's a lot of incestual relationships because they're so isolated. That doesn't help. But also alcoholism is a serious problem on any reservations. And by the way, you may laugh.
Like Alabama. Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know about that, but they're also very isolated. They often have a hard time getting medical treatment, and there's not a lot of medical awareness programs in those areas. So they don't get to hear about how to stop cancer and about how to stop, various things. And so they're isolated and they're extremely impoverished. I mean, you were literally going out in pissing into a tin can. You live in a little single wide and you go out and you piss in a tin can. That's your life on on some Indian reservations. It's bad. And unfortunately, American Indians have been castigated as, well, they're rich because of the casinos. Well, a few tribes have become rich, but if you go out and do like the Hopi in Arizona, it's shocking, really is. It's very much like West Virginia in some cases. So yeah, I mean, the government has treated various groups very poorly. However, it has improved a lot, and I don't see it as quite the issue as your audience does. I mean, we're looking at this.
My audience sees it as my audience isn't necessarily saying that this is the cause of the systematic oppression. They're saying that this is a symptom and also something that perpetuates it. Like, for instance, I can kind of see where they're coming at, like even attacking like some of your views here by even saying like he may not be like classic racist, but just in the way that he presents his content, it comes off that way. That's the reason I keep harping on it.
Well, keep in mind also there's a cultural issue. I come out of Oklahoma, and there's a way we talk about things that may not translate quite to somebody who's living in New York City. And like, I think the term blacks is probably used a lot more here than in Chicago. So I don't know. Mouse Houses says I can't do this. Okay, whatever. I'm sorry, but
I physically did not go to school for 8 years on this. The tribes are here.
Okay,
the tribes are ninth.
Night, Rid.
Yeah, I don't get the typo.
Yeah, I'm not privy to how the casinos operate. I do know that, for example, the Choctaw here in Oklahoma are very well to do. They have a lot of money. They have a lot of resources. But
actually, this is Mouse's kind of sums it up here. You're color struck though. Like that's where I was kind of saying.
I don't know what that means, but
you're literally like it is racially, like it's all very racially focused while ignoring the fact that, like you just kind of said, man, like this reminds me of when my grandmother, right? My grandma was kind of racist, and she used to call one of my friends a little taco vendor. And I was just like, that's really fucked up. Like, even when I was like a real little kid, I realized I was like, that's really fucked up. And I brought that up to my dad, and he was just like, it's her generation. And I didn't take that as as an excuse where I was like, well, her generation sucks. Like, that's not like, just because you live in Oklahoma doesn't mean that you should not be able to recognize that your state might be a little backwards with that. And it's not just, I don't want to be preaching from my Yankee stronghold here, but for real, man, like
Oklahoma's a very conservative state. It's probably the most conservative state in the union. I acknowledge that, of course. By the way, somebody said something about Elon Musk. He was talking about the Bachelor of Arts for Musk. Oh, sorry. I misunderstood. I thought they were aiming at me.
Oh. He has a bachelor in arts. Okay.
Here's the other thing.
That's a different conversation altogether, but yeah, that's interesting.
Another one there, somebody said that, okay, being color struck, I came in to talk about Carmelo Anthony, and it seems like your entire audience is fixated on this. Let's move on.
Okay, Johnny,
come on.
For real, the reason is because like I've already had 2 conversations with you before. And going through some of your content and going through like what you want to talk, even the stuff that you wanted to talk about in this again, like to bring up the third time, is the reason that I brought up that whole thing with the lawyer, where it's kind of like you don't even see that your biases are kind of leading you towards that kind of thing. And this is where like we're all just, and this is where I could see that like we are kind of like, I'm trying not to come off as preachy. I really am. But I kind of want to do the thing where it's like, I just want to help you, man. And also realistically, because I am like interested in your other takes on this, knowing that you aren't coming at this from your like traditional MAGA worldview, like what I would call like simpleton racist worldview either. Like that's almost why I get mad at the Oklahoma thing, because like here you are talking about how you have this educated background, and then you kind of fall back on the fact that it's like, hey, I live in a racist state. That doesn't necessarily sit with me, because it's like, well, you just kind of proved to me that you have a mentality that could totally negate that. You know what I mean?
You know what I think? I think that you spend way too much time trying to get into my psyche. This is really broaching on ad hominem. If you want to talk about the Carmelo Anthony case, we can, but this whole idea of trying to psychoanalyze me, this has been going on a long time. And okay, your audience thinks I'm racist. I get it. Enough.
Well, no, this would also help you in your critiques with Rashad Ritchie, because we're technically his audience. Like we're not his audience. Like we don't watch him, but we're his target audience. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so when I show a fake diploma mill, I provide the link. You can go check this out for yourself. But instead, it becomes about, well, is the presenter racist or not? It's ad hominem. I mean, if
not
you
necessarily.
want to examine my
not necessarily, because if you have enough people coming out and saying it, then that's not ad hom.
Yeah, no,
like, I don't think that we're necessarily ad homing you that bad. Like I think honestly, I think that some of the critiques are fair, and I think that some of the questions are fair here.
That's not what ad hominem means. Ad hominem is an attack on the person and not the argument. Mm-hmm. If you want to talk about, my arguments against Rashad Ritchie, I provide the links. Everybody here can go and look for themselves. When I say that this is a dead link and that the university doesn't exist, you can click on the link and you can prove it to yourself. You don't have to sit there and worry about, well, what does he, what kind of person is he? It shouldn't matter.
Hold on. This goes against, or like this goes opposite of all of what we're talking about. This is just as like a YouTube presenter, you should be able to do that without having yourself pigeonholed that way. You know what I mean? Because like I tried to explain to you, the first clip I saw of you, even and I don't think Cam necessarily edited you in like any fair way. Immediately, I kind of thought that way. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't know, because here's what it comes down to. I present content. People can check the veracity of my comments on their own. And to sit there and stress out over whether what I really am, what kind of person I am, I don't have any use for this. I mean, I was willing to entertain it for a while, but at some point, come on, let's move on. If you want to talk about Carmelo Anthony, let's look at the facts. And
well, this is where, I mean, honestly, this is where I was going at it with like the police thing. Trust me, if you thought that this was already getting a little like tense, like let's get into the police thing and it'll get tense.
Okay, but it should be based on the quality of my arguments and whether I can back them up. It should not be based on who I am. And if it becomes about who I am, then I'm never going to be able to convince anybody, because it's already been decided, right?
It depends, because isn't it how like you present yourself like in a public forum? Because like I deal with this as a content creator, dude. Trust me, I get it. Like I get called a fucking leftist hippie. Fucking I get it all the time. Like trust me. I just don't put myself out there like a lot as far as and like actually just yesterday I just had something where I kind of had it pointed out to me that like I had a shitty way of thinking about something, and instead of fighting back against it and just being like, oh, it's ad hom, I addressed it and I kind of went, yeah, you know what? You're right. I've never really even been called on it before. I took a step back and realized, yeah, I wasn't really seeing it from the way that an audience would. And this is the thing, like as a content creator, we are kind of speaking broadly to an audience, right? And you're kind of marketing yourself to an audience. So it really, like you kind of said about live streaming, this is why live streaming is sometimes easier, because you can speak your mind and you curate your content. Like, so you do understand how this works. Like you do, like you sit there for a minute going like, well, how will my audience respond to this? Or how will this hit in a certain video? I mean, even when you're doing a thumbnail, that kind of fucking hits, right? So that's kind of where I guess like, how do you not see it? where honestly, I don't think that we're necessarily attacking. I don't see myself attacking my audience. Yeah, they may be a little less charitable. But I'm also kind of like seeing where they are coming from, where it's just like, okay, man, like this is why I was bringing up about doing Chud the Builder content. Like, if you don't want to be like lumped in with racists, then do things that would kind of be a little bit not perceived as racist, you know? But this is where I don't want to tell you what to do. You curate your content any way you want, but I'm just talking if you want to have a broader audience in general, like that would be kind of smart on that one.
In all honesty, I don't really even follow my number of subscribers. I really don't care. I basically publish whatever I feel like publishing. And, you know, like if people perceive it as being like racist, well, I think that they're not listening to the argument very closely. But
actually, hold on. This is a good question. I'll just rephrase it though. Are there any white people that you've gone as virulent at on your channel? Like, is there anybody that kind of was the subject of your ire the same way that a Rashad Ritchie was? And I say ire, so not Kyle Rittenhouse, because obviously you kind of like sided with him.
Kind of a supporter, yeah.
Yeah. So, can you think of anybody that was white?
Off the top of my head, I'm sure I have, but I just can't think of it.
See, but that's where like you can understand why my audience would think this way.
They can think whatever they like. You know, I mean, like I say, let's say the veracity. Well, that's not the word I would use. My arguments stand on their own, and that's the way I like it. And I just don't target an audience at all. I don't produce videos to reach a certain, demographic. And if I did, I wouldn't have gone after like people like Benny Johnson, who's white, and I tore into him. Now he's not a criminal, but I thrashed him on his video.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That actually would have been a good answer for the white guy.
Mm-hmm.
You just like, was that like recent enough?
I'm sorry, which white guy?
Benny Johnson. Said he just tore into Benny Johnson.
Yeah, he's
I
a
understand
commentator.
that. Oh, I guess we did kind of frame it as criminal. My bad. Okay, so I guess broadly speaking, white person that you focus your subject of your ire on. My bad.
Mm-hmm. I think that your audience is hypersensitive on this topic. I think this is not healthy. I mean, look, if you really want to know about Rashad's background, if you really want to know a lot about Carmelo Anthony, the trial and stuff like that, you need to put this aside and quit worrying about it. We're trying to find racism
but
under
it's hard
every
to
rock.
like. That's the thing, because I would like. I think this is where they would love. I think they would love to give you like the time of day and like the credence to be able to do that, but it's hard to separate the fact that you do come at it with a certain racial bias, and that's what they can't get past, and that's where it is kind of like
they need to get past it. I'm saying, they need to get past it. I'm sorry.
That's where I think I would say that you need to get past the just falling for the fucking like black rage bait shit.
I mean, like I say, I think I'm very fair in my approaches to these topics. Carmelo Anthony, I've been more than fair to him. I didn't have to be. And in fact, the fact that my audience, when I am fair to Carmelo Anthony, it actually sets them back. They say, whoa, Johnnie Walker Dread
because I think they're coming into your, like, honestly, I think they're coming to your show with the same kind of bias, except they are right wingers where they're like, this guy thinks like us. Like, yeah.
And I even
be
have
honest,
a short.
Like, do you have a lot of racists in your chat?
Yeah.
All right.
But I also have a shorts video I published. I said, that's not what my channel is not about. I don't deal in this. And people say, well, why did you throw the racist people out? I do. I have. But at the same time, it gets really hard when you start to try to filter too much. I do like the idea that people can say what they want.
That. I mean, this is why I have a mod team. But.
Yeah, if somebody comes in and makes a statement that's clearly racist, I will typically delete And if he keeps doing it, I'll just put the old remove deal. But I don't have to do it very often. My actual subscriber base is pretty good. I mean, believe it or not, they tend to be a little bit right of center, but I don't get a lot of racist stuff from them. I mean, I try to approach this thing from an intellectual standpoint. And when you approach it from an intellectual standpoint, the real hard right wing typically are not into that. Right?
Well, maybe it's because you have been more open with your criticisms of Trump and some of that stuff, I would argue, but like realistically, that it, like my chatter just said, if you're attracting racists, maybe you're doing something, that's attracting racists. But like that's also not.
I'm a conservative.
Fair.
I'm conservative. I mean, I tend to approach
but
these
being
things
conservative shouldn't make you comfortable with all of a sudden attracting racist assholes.
I never said I was comfortable with it. I said I do attract them to a certain extent because they see me as they think an ally. It happens. Somebody who's doing a leftist channel is going to attract, a very, you'd say, untoward audience. It happens. And I've said, as my channel, well, basically the left-wing version of the racist MAGA that you're talking about, that you're accusing me of attracting. There is a very, very strong element of that comes in. And the Carmelo Anthony pulled that out. Well, they have the one guy who says that, we stab people in the chest because that's just the way we are. I'm like, are you crazy? Are you kidding me? There's a guy named Willie D. Watch his videos. The guy has an IQ of 85. He can't be. Yeah,
I've seen some of his videos. I've seen some of his videos.
So there is that subculture that probably has attracted your stuff. And as you grow more and more audiences, you're going to get more and more of that. I mean, at some point, where do you make the decision on to drop the hammer on them? But I mean,
I only drop the hammer whenever somebody tries to get like fucking, dare I say, like call me a racist for not going full bore on something, or just in general, just calling me racist for not recognizing my white privilege, which I do. Like,
by the way, I've been watching the chat here, and what's bothering me is what I see are people just completely mangling. Are you calling us racist? I never called your audience racist. I said that as you grow your channel, you're going to start to attract some of that element. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
Well, hold on. I mean, because the thing is, I think that they took it. I mean, I took it a little bit the same way, where I'm just like, well, what do you mean by that? Instead of just being like, no, like you're gonna had you said, as you grow, you will get the trolls or something like that. Even that little tweak in language, you're right, because I have had that. Like literally, as my channel grew, I had some of the worst fucking trolling worst trolling. It's bad trolls, let's put it that way. It's also a lot of bots and all that BS. But yeah, you're right. Like you do get the like untoward crowd, but the way that you frame that, you made it sound like it was them. And then it's like, well, yeah, if you're calling leftists untoward, well, how so?
I don't think I framed it that way at all. Also, so using logic is more offensive than being racist. Where are they getting that? I mean, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about. I think that your audience needs to quit trying to psychoanalyze me. This is getting out of hand.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this is like my audience aside. That's literally how people approach content creation, bro. Like I get that all the time. Like that's just how it goes. Like we put ourselves out here as public figures. People are going to psychoanalyze us. Like we kind of sign up for that. I get it literally all the fucking time.
Okay, so your audience has said its piece. Do you want to move on from it? Because
yes. I mean, I want
getting a little bit.
The biggest thing is, I mean, honestly, don't pay too much attention to the chats. Like I did want to focus like between us two, but like it's fine. It's fine. Like I don't mind, going there. But you're not debating the chat. You are like, or you're not like. Yeah, I guess you're debating me because this is a debate now. Police. Let's get into this because now I want to know the crux of your position on this one before we go into it.
Okay, so what I call the myth of police brutality, and I know that that's going to generate some ire, but it's, that's what I use, is, in my opinion, based largely on selection bias. And what we have is a situation where certain events are elevated in prominence because of their racial component. And I bring up a perfectly good example. And by the way, I can create examples all day long. But Corey Ali Muhammad in Fresno, California, shot to death 4 people because they were white. He literally said it. Taken alive, by the way. Dylan Noble, who was being arrested, was shot to death by a sheriff's deputy, by Fresno police, same police department. And Dylan was white. Now, one of the things that comes up is, this is the same police department. Why would that happen? Well, think about this. You remember the Breonna, what was her name?
Hold on. What was the lady? Hold on. I'm gonna stop you there.
Mhm.
What were the initial calls?
I'm sorry, the initial calls?
Yeah, the initial calls to get the police out.
With Corey Ali Muhammad, he murdered basically a security guard and then went on a rampage. I don't recall what Dylan was pulled over for, but he was pulled over in a traffic stop. They had him down on the ground, and a police department shot him with a shotgun.
Why are these two connected?
The same police
Are you
department.
saying it's just the same police department? Because this is wildly different.
Well, the issue here is that it goes to show you that you can have the same police department have 2 wildly different things, but it's never reported. Okay, now maybe that wasn't a good example. Let me bring up the Breonna Taylor. Okay, the Breonna Taylor deal. If you remember her, she was, sleeping in her apartment. She had her boyfriend with her, and the police did a SWAT enter.
Yeah,
right. The police department, in my opinion, did a very poor job on that. And there's a lot of evidence that the search warrant had some real issues with it. I mean, and the point where it looks like they sort of finagled the facts to try to get the search warrant. That happens. It shouldn't.
I thought this was widely understood.
Right. Now, Breonna Taylor is a well-known name. I mean, there's protests about her in Houston, Texas.
Because she was shot in her home.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Now, what happened was her boyfriend opened fire. They returned fire. I get the fact that it does not look good. And I'm not going to necessarily defend the police on it, but it wasn't that they just burst in and just shot her. Okay, there was an exchange of gunfire. Now, if you go to Houston, there was a massacre of 2 people and their dog. They were inside their home, and the police department created a fake search warrant. Basically, they created a fake informant. They said that this person has told us that there's drug activity going on and we need to go in. And so the judge gave them the search warrant, gave them the warrant. They busted in. There was an exchange of gunfire, just like with Breonna Taylor. Both the man and woman were shot dead, and they killed the dog. And I can't even think of what's that?
Was it through a door?
No, they actually bust in.
So okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you have very similar kind of circumstances here, but only one made the nation's consciousness. I can't even think of the name of the 2 people. It was Dennis something and Regina. Yeah, Nicholas,
to be fair, this is how it goes. I mean, there was another couple that was shot with their dog that we kind of forgot about that, was kind of like a political thing that, we kind of just all buried in our collective consciousness.
Right.
I don't know. It tends to happen.
Now, it turns out that the cop that issued the fake search warrant, who created the fake informant, was black. His name was Daryl Goins, I believe. He was convicted, for doing that. So you have, and by the way, the people in Houston.
Yeah, Sylvia actually just pointed this out. This was a national story. This did have a lot of outrage behind it. The Texas story was a national story that had,
I don't recall it ever coming out.
Just because you
I
don't
mean,
see them,
well,
just because you don't see their names at a fucking protest doesn't mean that it
how
didn't
many,
get
how
national
many
attention.
protests did you have? How many protests did we have over that shooting?
Okay,
I know
well,
plenty with Breonna Taylor.
we've had the difference is it's so easy to look at the difference between fucking the way that cops treat black perceived criminals as opposed to a fucking white criminal. Like I said, I have an anecdote for mine. Like I've seen it with my own fucking eyes. Like the way that they perceive racial bias, or like they use their racial bias in how they conduct their fucking police work, is a problem and is a national fucking problem. This is why we had all of the animosity that we've had since 2020 and before then. Like this is what, like, the 2020 was a fucking boiling point. Let's be real. You know, racial bias in police work has been a fucking thing for a long time. And also, you could argue that technically, like, white on white domestic violence is way higher than, you know, the whole perceived black crime as a whole. Like, I'm pretty sure that I remember reading that statistic that cops get called to just white fucking domestic disputes way more than they do any fucking black crime.
Yeah,
how come we don't talk about that?
Fits in. Well, I don't know if it even fits in with what we're talking about here, but my point is that the reason why, and this is my argument, the reason why we think that black shootings, I mean, we're not talking about being pushed up against the car, because I've already acknowledged that there's a difference, and I agree with your anecdote. But the whole idea that police officers shoot black suspects more often than white is based on the selection bias of where we elevate in prominence those shootings of black people more than white people. And my very first video, I did a coverage of the Rayshard Brooks shooting. Now, Rayshard was the guy who was passed out in a Wendy's in Georgia, Atlanta, and they tried to take him into custody. Rayshard fought the police, punched a couple of them, grabbed the taser, and was running. He turned around and he shot the taser at one of the police officers. They opened fire on him. Okay, they even burned the Wendy's down over it. I mean, that's pretty extreme, right? But my very first video covered a case where a sovereign citizen was pulled over in Dolan, Alabama. And he was just being obnoxious, right? He's, you can't arrest me and all that kind of stuff. They're chasing him around. And there were two cops there. The one cop pulls out a gun, presses it in his stomach, and opens fire. Now, you don't survive that. The gases go into the stomach and just blow the hell out of all of your innards. And he died right there in front of his kids. His kids screaming, his wife is screaming. It was horrible. And I can't even think of the guy's name. Nobody cared. And yet, the parallels.
Do you understand
Brooks,
the concept of like how just some of these things, they're what I would call, and this is going to sound bad, everyday kind of events where like, this is kind of par for the course. Some of them stick out a little bit more because they are a little bit more egregious.
I don't think that the Rayshard Brooks was more egregious, but here's the point. You're right that some of these get elevated more than others. And I think that race is primarily the reason. Rayshard Brooks was made a big deal because he was black. And the sovereign citizen was white, and nobody gave a damn about him. I can't even, Ray Lawrence, I think. His last name was Lawrence. But, and it was horrible. You know, the kids are screaming and all that kind of stuff. It's just terrible. She claimed that that he had his hands on his taser. It's not clear, but you can see all the parallel there too. There was a taser involved. So why not the protests? Well, when I understand why, but when you see protest after protest and the selection bias starts taking hold, you naturally start to think that one race is catching more of this than the other. Excuse me. than the other.
Well, yeah, because statistically, it's literally a fucking fact. We're literally
No,
looking
actually
at
not.
2.5
Roland
to 3
Fryer.
I'm literally looking at the fucking national statistics right now. They get shot at 2.5 to 3 times higher a rate than a fucking any white criminal. What are you talking about?
Roland Fryer did the research. I mean, it's
I
a
don't
massive
care.
study.
So Roland Fryer just fucking supersedes all national case study.
I don't even know what you're looking at, but I do know that there is a study that talked about 3 times, but the study was messed up in one way.
Well, I guess you
And
might
there's-
take umbrage with it. It's from the NAACP.
Okay. So here's the thing. There's a difference between the percentage of time that blacks will be shot at or so let's say the likelihood of being shot at if you're black and the likelihood that you'll be shot at if you're black and you encounter the police. There's a big difference. When they take into account, when they control for that variable, it turns out the difference evaporates. So here's what's happening. Yes, blacks are more likely to be shot. And I say the word blacks again. Okay. I'm surprised you didn't say anything, right? Black people are more likely to be shot by the police, no doubt. However, when they encounter the police, their chances of being shot are about the same as white people. They just encounter the police a lot more. And there's a lot of reasons for that.
The thing is, it's not even that I need to not believe that. It's just, no, that's not how it goes.
Well, that is actually
do you believe in over-policing as a concept?
Look, here's the thing. And this is one of the problems I have with the say the left progressive movement. The over-policing, the police are going into these rough communities because there are people there that need protection.
Or not. And I literally live in a city where I can tell you right now that's not the case.
Well, I'm telling you.
You want to talk about the myth of police? Like, fucking, dude, it's the same thing with ICE. ICE isn't going in to the worst areas. They're not going into the fucking, where the Latin kings are controlling certain areas. They didn't do any of that shit in Chicago. They went after the easy fucking targets.
Well, this is not about ICE. We can't make it about ICE because ICE is operating on a different level here. I'm talking about regular.
Not necessarily. They're operating on the same protocol. No, I would argue that they do go based off like the same protocols as any other cop with more leverage or like more leeway. Obviously,
there's a big difference between patrolling a neighborhood and targeting people. ICE targets certain people and goes in. What we're talking about are police that are patrolling neighborhoods and they encounter situations. Now, you might think that's over policing. However, I would argue that they go into these communities because
this is where
the crime is.
This is where I can speak with certainty because and I'm not going to. I don't want to be a dick here, dude. But for real, you live in Oklahoma. I live in fucking Chicago. You think that I don't understand the concept of over policing in certain neighborhoods that have absolutely no gang activity, but they're still arresting black people?
What are they arresting them for?
Let's put it this way. They are watching that. Like, for instance, I'm going to just give it a theoretical here. So you got 2 white kids smoking weed in the park. You got 2 black kids smoking weed in the park. Cop has a fork in the road. Guess which ones he's following? In Chicago, I can guarantee you which one it is.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's not a maybe.
Well, I'm talking about patrolling here.
That is patrolling.
This is a hypothetical that I can't respond to. You say, which one would he do? I don't know. I mean, it's a hypothetical, and I try not to settle these. This is the old, well, if he was black, would he have been?
That was actually that was just being obvious. We know which one they were going to take. I wasn't actually asking you. That's the whole point of this.
This is the old, if he was black, he wouldn't have been arrested. I'd have no use for that. Let's talk about.
But it's true. And the thing is, there's a lot of racist cops out there too. That's just a fact.
Well, okay. There's going to be racist people in any community. We get that. What I'm talking about is when you have police patrolling high crime areas, they're pulling over a person who's got a taillight out. Okay. He's dragging a muffler. It's 3:00 in the morning, right? They're searching for warrants. Why? Because people with warrants are dangerous people. And
Not
so they're
necessarily.
pulling these.
Not necessarily. Fucking A, dude. We got a Trump store lady here. I know that I probably used this example before. She has had warrants because she has 27 fucking moving violations. Guess what? They still let her off. Like, you could have a warrant for something. You can have a warrant for something as innocuous as a fucking suspended license and not showing up for court.
Right. But these guys are looking mostly for felony
No,
warrants.
I'm not letting this one go, Johnny. You just tried to posit that they're fucking dangerous, when in reality, anybody that's being served some of these fucking warrants, it's usually for something innocuous like that, for a moving violation, that for a missed court date. That was bullshit. And that's kind of where I was kind of like going at it with this whole attitude of like, dude, really? Because how do you not see where you're like that bias is kind of fucked up?
Okay. The issue here is that when they go in and they see this happening, let's change it. There's a good chance that the person that they're pulling over has warrants. They could be posing a danger to the community. They're trying.
Would you argue this if it was like, do you argue this, that if it's a white person in the fucking vehicle, or like, do you not see race in this one at all?
Would they pull him over if he's dragging a muffler and he's got a taillight out if he's white? Yeah, they probably would.
Okay.
I see no reason why they wouldn't. Well, I can see why you think there would be a
picture of this fucking white kid's car right outside my fucking house. He doesn't have a back tail light and he's missing his bumper, but I had seen him get pulled over once.
Well, it's anecdotal. I can't respond.
No, it is. I understand that. I understand that. Sometimes anecdotes are a thing because it's called life experience. What's your take on stop and frisk?
Not a fan of it. I think it's unconstitutional.
Okay. All right. Hey, based. That's a good one. So
I thought that base was a conservative thing only.
Oh,
is it? Oh, really? Oh, okay. Every time I've heard it used, it was always used to refer to some guy who everybody said, okay, he's one of us. He's a conservative dude.
No, it's literally just a vernacular that the kids were using for a while. See, I may be younger than you, but I'm at that point where even I think that might have been the first Google one where I was just like, what does based mean? I hate to admit it, but it's true.
Well, it's really hard for me. I'm a lot older, so I have to Google almost everything.
Yeah, well, so this is kind of where I think that we are kind of coming like to a fork in the road in this argument, where like you don't acknowledge that you're seeing it from the racial bias, even though I do think that you're looking at this from like you're putting the blinders on, where you're not recognizing the fact that there is over policing in Black communities, even ones that don't have high crime rates. And it's because it's essentially easier. Like, look at the way that, like, for instance, we have these teen takeovers, right, in Chicago. And instead of focusing on the fact that it's a bunch of fucking rowdy ass teens, we always focus on the Black angle of it. And when I see that, I immediately like go to think about how you're viewing this, where it's just like, it's that mentality that allows people to even go there. When I'm turning this on and I see it's Mexican kids, it's white kids, it's Black kids, but they're only focusing on one demographic, and they're only showing pictures of one demographic stomping on cars, going out, causing the ruckus. This is where do you recognize the racial bias in the media and how it constantly is trying to, I don't want to insult you here, but get guys like you riled up?
To be honest with you, my conservative base, they say the bias is on the other side. Well, they would show the picture of the dude if he was Black. They're not, so he must be Black. I catch that all the time. I don't buy into that argument at all. Is the media biased against Black people when it comes to reporting? I don't think so. I don't see any evidence of it. In fact, I
Really?
would think that my conservative base will tell you just the opposite. You know,
No,
and
no,
by
you
the
guys
way,
said that.
the argument that if he was black, he wouldn't be charged. My conservative base says if he was, they say the exact opposite. It's like when both sides have the same argument, you kind of wonder if there really isn't if there's anything there. And I don't know if
Well, I mean, if you're
the
going from a
media's-
nuanced approach, like again, I watched a bunch of the judge, like, judicial videos. We like this guy from Austin, bald dude, wears a suit, really funny.
I
Fair
might know
as shit.
who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's fair as shit. He's one of the most fair judges I've ever seen in my life. To the point where I'm literally like going like, shut the fuck up. He's giving you a good deal. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. But even that guy, he recognizes the racial bias in policing. There's one specific one where the cops caught this guy, black guy, bring him in. And the prosecutors were like, we got him on probable cause because he was parked. It was like 3 or 4 like inches away from the curb, that like farther than he like legally should have been. So the judge just comes out and he's like, okay, so you're just arresting people for parking while black? Is that what we're doing here? And you saw the prosecutor's face just go fucking red, where it's like, well, I mean, he was technically breaking a moving violation. And he's just like, I'm throwing this case out. And if you ever bring anything like this to my court again,
Yes,
then we're
Judge
going to have some serious
Fleischer, I
problems.
think.
Yeah, Fleischer.
His name is
Yeah.
Judge Fleischer.
Yeah.
I do know about. I actually watched that video. My biggest problem with Fleischer is that with the outlandish suits, it looks like he's really trying to become the next like media personality. Yeah, I mean, I don't care.
He's
I
a
mean,
judge, and he legally gets to have like through FOIA. Again, I've had some FOIA stuff in my time here. Yeah, he has every right to do that, and he doesn't have to wear the robe.
No, I mean, no, I don't care about the robe so much as that I think he really saw all these other judges.
Do you really have a problem with this?
Can...
Did you watch Judge Wapner? Did you watch People's Court?
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think that you had a problem with this.
I don't have a problem with it. I just kind of think that he's really trying to, become a celebrity.
Who cares? We all are here. And honestly,
Mm-hmm.
realistically, if he does just through being the surprise, oh my God, there's a judge out there that's actually fair that I would want to go up in front of. Listen, this is where I wanted to get into this with you, because I have been on the other side of policing. I've been on the other side of the judges. I have my own history, and I have not, but I've also had it to where it was all bullshit, where they tried to get us on some actual bullshit, where like there was one time I got arrested where they were raiding the fucking house next to us, and I somehow fucking got arrested because,
But you're white. That's not a good example at all.
No, it's because I lived in an apartment complex, and our fucking we had 2 separated doors, and they came to my door, and I was fucking ripping a bowl. Yes, I was an idiot, but that was no reason to fucking take me in.
Yeah, I can't comment on that. Yeah, my favorite judge is
was I being stupid? Yes.
The guy out of Detroit, or is it Michigan, that deals with all the sovereign cents guys?
No, I know who
with
you're talking about. Yeah,
the ponytail.
Yeah, ponytail.
I like him.
Yeah. Who would have guessed that the study provided had insufficient information and improper methodology?
I have no idea which one they're talking about.
Well, either way, I mean, I like at the risk of like going in circles here, I do just like, we can kind of acknowledge that we see things a little bit differently, but realistically, I just kind of wish you could apply the nuance that you have for, talking about this judge and talking about some of these cases to the other side of this, where like you think that we on the left, and that this could actually be like a expose on a bigger problem, that they are really feeding us a bunch of fucking rage bait on the opposite sides. I mean, this is actually why I like doing these debates and having people like you on like a leftist space, which again, I do give you a lot of credit for coming here tonight. I do appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate
This is nothing
having
easy.
you come on. But if I do come on anymore, let's focus on. We've said our piece here.
Mhm.
Okay, I get what your audience is saying. I get what you're saying. We need to get off this. And if I come on again, if I'm ever on again over a topic or something, I think we need to focus on it.
Well,
Because
I mean, tonight was more so tonight was kind of getting to this. Like, I'll admit it. Like, I wanted to, this might be selfish on my part, but I did want to actually like debate you on some of your ideas here because mostly because it's understanding where you are coming from. And when we did have our discussions about this, I kind of was like getting to this and, why not kind of bounce these ideas back and forth with each other. And
okay,
like you did say that we have already like gone through it, so that's the nice part too.
by the way, they mentioned Roland Fire falls apart upon casual scrutiny. Yeah, I ain't buying that. As far as his professional misconduct, had nothing to do with the study at all. So there's the problem. Like, why are we focusing?
Hold on, he had been fired from Harvard for his professional misconduct.
There was a claim of sexual harassment or something like that. I don't recall it. I don't know if he was fired. I think he was disciplined. I'm not sure.
Fire study has been panned so hard. The guy was fired. Holy crap. I know nothing about it, so I'm not going to try and fucking speak to.
There's a long interview of him over his study. It's pretty interesting. I covered it in my videos.
No, because I could also say the next time that you would be invited here is where Hank Thompson's here and we're discussing Rashad Ritchie in depth and kind of going into like all of your accusations against him, and then also kind of trying to like line up where some of these lies kind of line up with his TYT stuff. I do know that there was a there's an interest in going into that for sure. But like, and I do apologize that like the audience, the audience, they definitely went at you, and this is why again I do have to say, like, I do appreciate like the fact that you even did this, and I'm sorry if I did kind of bait you. Like, I could see where.
Well, I kind of expected that probably going to pick up on this conversation. I did not expect that it was going to go on this long. And the next time I come on, I really think that we need to get past this. It really does come across as ad hominem. But, that's...
I don't see how it's ad hom, though, where we're attacking your ideas and not you personally. I'm actually going out of my way to not attack you personally. I'm actually being very charitable to you.
I'm sorry. I think I'm looking at the chat thing, but
what did I say, Johnny? What did I say?
Okay, all right, but
you don't have to read all the chats there, man. And just remember, the
probably
chats are
not
not necessarily.
Idea.
They are not necessarily like. Let's put it this way: if I was on your channel, I wouldn't be fucking reading the chats. I've been on Modern Day Debate versus Andrew Wilson. I wasn't reading the fucking chats.
Oh, you have? Oh, Andrew Wilson.
Yeah.
Have you seen the latest with him and the Carmelo Anthony thing?
Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. All right. Well, I got time. I actually just got the go ahead from the producer. We're good. So, yeah, please explain.
You know what? I don't know. He took on a panel of pro Carmelos, for lack of a better word. And
wait, where the fuck was this? How did I miss this content?
Oh, there was like 7 of them. And
was this a Jubilee thing?
I don't know what a Jubilee thing is.
Oh, Jubilee is that like where they do like it's called Surrounded, and it's like the 20 leftists versus 1 conservative.
Well,
Jordan Peterson.
It was 7 pro Carmelos against him. So I think it was, but you missed it. Yeah, I mean, it was pretty bad, but he was going up against a bunch of people who really had been oxygen deprived when they were born. They were definitely not very good spokespeople for the pro Carmelo side.
Oh, it's on his channel.
What's that?
It's on his channel. I just realized that.
Yeah.
Crucible, King Richards, Dono Go. Okay. I don't recognize a single one of these people, but okay. Doesn't matter. I don't know. So did you agree with Andrew's take on this? Because not like, oh, this will be interesting because I will watch this and that will be another fucking, shit. That'll be debate 2.0.
I don't know if I knew what his take was, other than they would come up with some ridiculous argument and he would just shoot it down. But that doesn't necessarily tell me where he stands on this thing, although I can guess. I imagine that he's probably a conservative. Right?
He's
Really
he's not
ultra-right-wing?
even just a conservative. He's a ultra nationalist conservative who
Okay.
believes in Christian nationalism.
I listened to it on my way to work. I was just scrolling through and I hit it. And it devolved very quickly. So I don't know what his take was. I'm sure that he's very anti Carmelo. He's probably,
Very much.
thinks that he probably
Very
thinks
much
that
so.
Carmelo should be executed, that kind of crap. I had to put
Yeah.
that down. I thought that 35 years was actually a little harsh, but
See, okay. You know what? I'm glad that we can get back to that a little bit. What did you think that the penalty actually should have been?
I said it on a number of times, and I even predicted it and was wrong. But I said that the penalty was going to be 20 and he would serve 10. And I based that on the fact that he has no criminal record. There's a very strong possibility here that he did this without really thinking.
Yeah,
that
you had made that point. Yeah.
He was being a dumb adolescent.
So realistic, like going back to, because I may have missed this. Why do you think he's not going to be able to get an appeal then?
I don't. The Supreme Court, as far as I know, the appeals court is only going to be looking at this, the selection of the jurors. I can't imagine what else took place that would be appealable. But then again, I wasn't there. I don't know. It was pretty clear that his defense did not put up a real spirited defense. I mean, there's times when you think, damn, man, that defense lawyer is just really going after, right? But
Alex Jones, that's the case I think of with that one, where it's just like he literally made a soundbite where it was just like, oh, he got him there. But also, this is where it was a little bit different, like because the cameras were not allowed in. Like I think that you had actually said this, where you said that a lot of people had lost the opportunity to do a bunch of content because they took that away. That's why they were so mad.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They were really pissed off not because of any kind of First Amendment free speech, but it's because they were going to lose a lot of money on it. They had been planning this for a long time.
Right.
I thought that Crystal Kaiser was going to be the big blow up, and I was preparing for it and thinking, oh man, this is going to be a monster. And then she just pled guilty, and that just eliminated everything. It was like, oh,
like shit.
I can't do anything with it. Right. I mean, yeah. So, but yeah, the whole thing about, I think that the judge even admitted afterwards that not allowing cameras in was a mistake.
Really?
I understand the reasoning. And at the time I thought, good deal. I think that the negatives outweigh the positives though, because we're left with now a situation where nobody's happy. Everybody's accusing the others of, sabotage and conspiracies and all that kind of stuff that we probably wouldn't have. Now, maybe it made it safer in the courtroom during the trial. Okay. In which case, maybe that's the overriding deal, right? Maybe that's what we should only be concerned about. But really,
no, I go back to the fact that it, like any other case, would have been fucking televised at that point. Like even in Texas, like the fact, like they had some pretty weird reasonings for trying to lock down the case. In my opinion.
Did you watch the interview of the judge?
No.
He gave an interview after the trial. And they
I didn't see that one. I saw the one that's why I was like, I saw the one pre-trial where he was trying to explain like the whole judicial bias thing and how he wasn't going to play this game and how his court was going to be, on the up and up, blah, 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 blah.
Well, and I will say this. I think that on those points, maybe he was very good. But the banning of the court of the television cameras has had a far-reaching negative impact. This is really hurting. People are claiming to have been there that were not there. They're claiming to have seen videos that don't exist.
Yeah.
And they're saying these things because they know that people were going to find out later that it's a lie, but I don't care because by then I will have started the fire. and that's why they're doing it. And the Kyle Rittenhouse case was bad enough, but I've never seen anything like this. This is crazy. The Drew Anthony was, I guess, getting online on social media and going at war with people, and then I think Jeff Metcalf, they accused him of doing the same. I've never seen that before. Right?
I mean,
now, maybe that didn't happen.
No, that I believe that happened because the way that he was aggressive with the fucking press was enough for me to go like, no, I get it. Like this guy,
which one are you talking about? Drew or
Jeff?
Oh, Jeff. Well,
Yeah.
Drew was pretty bad too. He got tangled with Dominic Alexander and Charleston White. Charleston White is a notorious race baiter. I know you don't like the term, but he is. And
I don't mind the term race baiting, dude.
Okay. Well, at any rate, he pushed another social media.
I just pointed out if you're doing it.
Yeah. So I don't think I've ever seen anything like this before. It's insane. But yeah.
But
there's
sorry. I was in the middle of it.
It's pretty clear to me that Carmelo basically acted out of frustration or emotion, did something terrible. I absolutely believe that within a few seconds after doing it, he totally
immediately
felt,
was like, fuck. Yeah.
Oh, what did I do?
Yeah.
I know that he would love to turn back the clock and not go through this again. He absolutely would. Race baiter. A race baiter is a person who simply works extra hard to inject race into a system where it really doesn't belong because they really want to instigate a conflict, a racial conflict.
Would you argue that race baiting is more prevalent in white circles than it is in like just with black cases?
I don't know if one dominates over the other, to be honest. And here again is selection bias. I would say blacks do it more, but that's only because I encounter it in my algorithm more. So how much of that goes on in the white neighborhood? I don't know. I've seen it.
But Johnny, like
I've seen
this
it.
goes back to like you're smart enough to see past your algorithm, brother.
No, I'm saying that because of my content, I certainly think that race baiting is done by black populations more than white, but that is simply from maybe selection bias. Maybe white populations are even worse at it. I don't know. I do see it. I mean, I've seen plenty of examples where a person's come in and they're trying to make it racial from the white side, and I say, come on. We don't need this crap. And with Carmelo Anthony, it happened, right?
You know what? Actually, I want to be fair, like, and also just take it away from any of like the media stuff. You being from Oklahoma, you must deal with this a lot then. You said that you're a conservative area. You said a lot of people think like this, and I'm not trying to be unfair. I'm genuinely interested in this because I live in a very diverse area where we don't think like this.
Well, I mean, when it comes to my algorithm, whatever that stuff, it has nothing to do with being in Oklahoma.
I wasn't talking about the algorithm. I'm talking about just even like where you live and your preconceived biases and the fact that you can easily make things racial because of where you live and your preconceived biases.
Well, keep in mind, I spend most of my time on university campuses, and like Oklahoma is not quite what you think it is. Now, if you get out,
I'm not trying to put it there where it's like you've never seen a black person in your life, blah, blah, blah. I'm talking about the fact that, well, I'll be fair here. You're the one who kind of made it to where, like, I'm from Oklahoma. We're more conservative, kind of like, I'm not sure if you were trying to say like, this is the reason I think this way. And like, there is more racial biases because I'm from here. Like, that's kind of what I'm trying to get at.
You're equating conservative with a racist, but
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, that's
putting
words in my mouth. I'm literally.
I said it was conservative. I didn't say it was more racist here. Never did say that.
Oh,
I mean, keep in mind,
especially, and I will. You know what? I'll take that back.
Okay.
More conservative.
But if you go into the southeastern corner, you get into what we call Little Dixie, and you get these backwards, people that they live in the double wides, and they're racist as hell. They fly the Confederate flags and stuff, that kind of stuff. You'll see some of that, but that's not where I'm from. If you pretty much everywhere else in Oklahoma, it's pretty much like living in Colorado or something like that. There's really not, it's not to that extent. Now, keep in mind, Oklahomans tend to have a lot more deference to their police departments than most other states. They love the police here, and the Tulsa police, which is not far from me, is brutal. And they're accustomed to it more. What's that?
Why?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, or
they're the ones that not why, but how so?
Oh, they have a tendency to use their vehicles to run over suspects, and they do it a lot.
What the actual fuck?
Yeah, and then they also have a tendency to shoot at fleeing suspects through their car window.
What the actual fuck?
Oh yeah.
Yo, dude, we have hardcore laws against that here in Chicago.
Yo, in Tulsa.
Dude. Yeah.
Tulsa,
that's fucked.
But keep in mind, the people of Oklahoma are used to having an elevated, let's say, respect for the badge than in other states. What? They do.
Because they're dumb and they respect authority because they don't have critical thought. What the fuck?
No, I mean, they're chasing after a fleeing suspect, and Oklahoma say, "Well, that's a fleeing suspect."
For what? For what? If he stole a fucking Laffy Taffy, I don't want him getting hit by a goddamn car.
Like I say, it's just that the people here, they tend to have a much stronger law and order kind of mentality.
But that's not an excuse. That's stupid. That is like,
you ought to see some of the body cam footage.
There is a level of stupidity where you just accept the idea of law and order, and you're just like, yeah, authority. I love it. I fucking love it. I'm gonna fly that black American flag with the blue line on it because I want you to know how much I love y'all. Like, that's backwards as fuck, bro.
Well, you know what? They say the same thing about the progressives. They're always letting them get away with crime. They just let them walk all over the police.
The thing is, dude, we don't though. We don't. Like, if you understood like how per capita worked, then we arrest a lot more dangerous criminals per capita because we only have so much fucking holding power as far as our prison system and just in general, where we try to equate it, where it's like, is it a nonviolent crime? Repeat offender, nonviolent crime, repeat offender. Like I said, we got this Trump store lady, 27 moving violations. You could argue that she's probably a menace to society, driving on a suspended license. But realistically, you also being the sovereign citizen guy, you know what the fuck she's doing. But realistically, if we're being fair's fair, she should be in jail.
Well, I will say that, they look upon the street takeovers and like Seattle stuff, and they don't understand that at all. They think this. Yeah,
because I don't think you guys have the capacity to even have it happen.
Well, I mean, we have Tulsa is a metropolitan area. I mean, it can do it, but they cannot fathom.
Sorry.
And by the
now
way,
I will be a dick. I've been to Tulsa, bro. It's very, I don't know.
Well,
I felt like I was in Dayton, Ohio.
You walk into a CVS store in Tulsa and nothing's locked down. And they see these stories
locked
about
down in CVS at my fucking in my areas either. Like, what are you talking about?
But they see the reports. And by the way,
I see the reports because they're fucking stupid and not well traveled. Honestly.
Okay, well, I mean, I was in Hawthorne, California, and I went to a fried chicken, and I had to put my money through a Sally port, and it was bulletproof.
Yes, that's how that works. Gary, Indiana's the same way.
Yeah,
because they get held up a lot. And that's how that happens.
Yeah.
You know what?
I get that. I mean, obviously.
Hold on. You also know what happened. You know what causes the whole holdup pattern and the whole, we call it systematic racism, and how this applies to this and how it keeps these areas poor and in these conditions. And this is why you even have the liberal progressive side of things trying to change that, where if you change the material conditions of these people's lives, then you will not have to have Church's Chicken with a fucking bank, like a currency exchange bulletproof window giving you your chicken.
Right. What I'm saying is that the people in Oklahoma, they look at that and they think, well,
That
Why they can't even fathom.
you're making
having-
the case that then they need to travel within their
But I
own
did.
country.
I traveled to Hawthorne. I saw it
No,
personally.
not you.
Okay.
This is where I'm talking about. You keep saying Oklahomans. I'm saying
Okay.
Oklahomans, not you. Like that's why I'm kind of like getting a. That's why earlier I was like, Adham, I'm literally attacking like the idea of people like you, not you.
Okay.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
There's an interesting case where there was a documentary on Seattle, and they had people from Nashville that got off, from the airport, and one of them was practically crying. She said, "I don't understand this because Seattle has really gone off the rails." And
No, it hasn't.
oh, it's
Dude, no, it hasn't. I just went to Nashville and it was more off the rails than Chicago.
check out the
Fucking A, dude.
documentary. Check out the documentary.
I don't need to see a documentary. This is
No.
where the fucking like anecdotal does come into fucking play.
No, the homeless problem and the meth problems is real. It's not anecdotal. They have
Well, you understand
really
that again,
serious
the
problems.
meth problem and homeless problem can also be tied to the capitalist problem, where a lot of people were not protected and given opportunities. And then you also have the jobs problem, which is also, something that we should probably address. I don't know. It's almost like it's systematic. And this is what a lot of progressives constantly want to address. But then you have conservatives that would rather just do this and go, I want those homeless people gone. I don't like my park being, and then do nothing to address the systematic causes that are actually contributing to that.
But Seattle's progressive.
It doesn't matter. I'm talking about Tulsa.
It doesn't matter.
I'm talking about Tulsa, and also in Seattle, they do actually like address a lot of that stuff. They like, for instance, when you're talking about homeless people and like they don't have the ability to get off the streets. I'm pretty sure that Seattle has more homeless shelters, and like, I'm also not going to be the asshole that is going to ignore some of the broader problems where, okay, we need to get some drug treatment programs. That would be great. Like in Portland, that's a big one. Like, I would argue that, yeah, like, I'm all for progressive policy, but I'm also for, we should probably help people, especially if they are like really far gone on certain drugs. But the other part about this is the fact that, like, when you say homeless people, you understand that 37% of homeless people don't even have a drug problem, right? It's just that they're unfortunate. But because we're a society of dickheads, that we all automatically assume that there's somehow the riffraff of society. That's why they ended up there.
Okay, so during the documentary, they asked the police, I think it was the police chief or something, they asked him, what percentage of the homeless do we have that have drug addictions? He said practically all of them.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Great source.
Well,
The police chief
know.
that has every incentive to fucking bury the fact that that's not the case. If he's talking about maybe a 10, like, for instance, in Chicago, I'm going to just break it down how it goes here. Okay. And like, this might offend you. This might offend my audience. This is just reality. In Chicago, we have some 10 cities, right? And certain areas, it's kind of like the same way that we treat like high crime areas, where we're just like, okay, some of these 10 cities are what we consider like the Skid Rows, where we're just like, all right, they're going to do their thing. But, if we still have programs that want to help them. But then you have the other ones where it is like, it's just lack of opportunity. They do like try to get to the shelters, and like, it's literally just because they fell on hard times. That's where I'm saying, like, this is, for every time that you've called like one of my arguments anecdotal, the same thing can go for that fucking police chief right there, because it is very much something that is widespread throughout our country, where it's just like, no, man, like, if you take care of, even if you just take my statistic of 37%, you take 37% of homeless people out of it. Okay.
The drug problem amongst the homeless can't be just 37%. It's got to be much higher.
It is. It literally is. And this is a national statistic. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah.
Because you do understand that under Trump, a lot more people are becoming homeless because it's impossible to keep up with costs. You do understand that people that literally like fall behind on 2 or 3 payments are ending up homeless. They live in a car, and then technically you're not seeing them as your idea of homeless, sleeping on a park bench, fucking multiple jackets in a shopping cart. It's literally a family of 4 that's living with their fucking in-laws.
Well, yeah. I mean, it could be any unstable or lack of long-term housing. I get
Meth
that.
is a
I'm not
problem in
talking about
Oklahoma
that.
too. Oh shit. Yeah,
Well,
that's
yeah,
right.
We're homeless everywhere, but no, I mean, I lived in California. It's a lot better here, and I say better meaning I don't see nearly as
It's
much
per capita though. It's literally a per capita thing. This is why I was making fun of the size of your city.
Well, okay. I mean, it's per capita, yeah, but you're going to see it's not like you take the homeless from every corner of the city and you congregate them into
Do you
one
understand
area.
that California is warmer than most areas of the country? This is
Yeah,
why
I
a lot of people
understand
do take greyhounds out to California, and this is why California has a larger homeless problem.
Yeah, and they also have very
They also
loose
have I
drug
think
laws.
they have the number 1 largest economy in America, and then they have like they're number 9 in the world or some shit like that. Like they actually
don't
have
think
like the
that
small
that
GDP of a
attracts
fucking small country.
homeless. The loose drug laws, not so much in California, but in Seattle and Portland, are attracting large numbers
I
of
will give you
homeless.
that. So I will give you that it's not loose drug laws though. See, this is where there are pros and cons to this, okay? And this is where it is a little bit more nuanced, I guess, because I'm glad that at least if they got these issues, they're getting clean needles and stuff like that. That is something that is a big deal. But treatment programs, you're right. That is something that's lacked. From my understanding with Portland, I got one of my best friends lives in Portland. He keeps telling me, he's like, dude, I don't want to even fucking bring this shit up. But he's like, dude, at some point it does actually start affecting you. Like they fucking stripped. So at one point, he's a water delivery guy. They stripped his fucking cab of like everything in the cab. And he was just like, all right, man, like, what the fuck? But he also recognized that he was like right downtown Portland. But I was like, yeah, that is kind of fucked up. That is kind of fucked up. And then on top of it, there should be more treatment options. That's a big one though. Like, I'm just gonna say that much. Seattle, I can't agree with you on that one because I think that is anecdotal on your part, where it is like, all right, like, yeah, but when we're talking again, this is why I keep saying per capita is it that bad? Like in Seattle, I'm pretty sure that they have better drug treatment programs than they do in Portland.
I think you really need to investigate the homeless problem in Seattle a lot more thoroughly. It's bad. It's really, really rough. And it's causing political problems. I mean, when your campaigns are centered on trying to solve the homeless problem, it's got to be a pretty serious situation. Homelessness doesn't come up here much. I mean, politically doesn't, because we just don't see nearly as much of it.
Because most of them leave, probably. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, there's something to that argument. I'm not saying that.
Yeah,
the homeless problem is necessarily.
And also, like, realistically, you don't have it. Like, for instance, if somebody loses their house, like, you don't have that immediate like effect. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I've always thought that it's kind of odd to boogeyman homeless people the way that we do, instead of just being human about it and saying, hey, we should try and solve this, dude. Like, and I've said, I've had plenty of poor fucking experiences with some homeless people that were definitely whacked out of their fucking gourd. Plain and simple. But I've had way more positive experiences and have way more conversations with people that were just literally one paycheck away from actually having an apartment. That's the facts. Hold on. You know what you focus on, and a lot of people focus on, is the sensationalized version of that, which is the guy that pissed on my friend's leg while we were at the House of Blues. That's what gets the coverage.
That, and people who are having to leave and close their stores because the homeless are parking out in front of them and the city won't do anything about it. That's been a problem.
I don't know. Like, see, that's the stuff that I always find bullshit, because literally you want to talk about how fucking great the cops are. It's not the city. Like, at that point, they could fucking, like, I don't know, man. There are private security firms as well that, you know, they could fucking just say, hey, this is private property. Get the fuck off of here.
Private security can't do anything.
Oh, they can't?
Nope. I mean, they can call the police. The police have quit bothering because, you know, the next day the person's right back on the right in front of the store again. It's a serious problem in that sense that.
Well, you do understand that this is literally like, this is no new problem. Like, my dad used to talk about this, how it's 3 hots and a cot. You know, this is the reason that they even go out of their way to sometimes get locked up, and then cops just stop doing it because they understand that it's like, okay.
Yeah, that's always been around. Sure. The one of the issues that has come up is that they have quit basically charging people for, I mean, not just marijuana, but narcotics. So guess what? You know, you're pulling.
That's good.
That's
objectively a good thing, that even if they repealed that, I wouldn't be, no, fuck it. What, you want them locked up instead? You'd rather have them draining our system instead of trying to get them treatment? Why not put that fucking money that you would spend on them going to jail and then put them in treatment?
Because they're able to use the stuff and destroy their lives on a continual basis.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. That's fucking choice, Johnny. That's their choice. Like, that is, at some point, you do understand that it's also creating material conditions that kind of suit a like like a citizenry where it would benefit them, right? Like, this is why progressive policies tend to kind of work towards building better lives for these types of people, so they do have something to fall back on. Not everything is pull yourself up by your fucking bootstraps, because some people are born without fucking boots.
Well, I will say this. If you have a solution for Seattle, they would love to see it, because they basically have almost given up on it. Now, there's one homeless program out of West Virginia that they look upon as being sort of the gold standard. And I think they're going to try to consider that. Now, I'm not privy to all of the elements of it, but the drug treatment is obviously a major portion of it. You might check into that. And if you watch the documentary Seattle is Dying, they actually talk about that program quite a bit. So you may want to watch that just for that alone.
Just real quick, and I am going to be this guy. Who produced that documentary?
The local news organization, I believe.
It was
I think it was like WFAA or something like that.
Okay.
Now, I could be wrong. Anybody who goes in the chat, Seattle is Dying, I'd be kind of considered. I'd be curious as to who produced it.
Is Dying TV program. Como. Who's Como? Let's see. Journalists reflect 7 years later. Como.
Oh, Komo. Komo.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the local news deal.
Well, let's see. Hold on.
We'll check it out sometime. I mean,
I'll check out the documentary later, but let's see. I mean, it does seem like it is just a local news org, but I'm not seeing like what channel or ABC affiliate. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I wanted to see who they were affiliated with. Okay. I'll check it out.
You don't have to buy into what they're saying, but just for the West Virginia thing, I think that would be something you might be interested in looking at.
West Virginia aside, I think that like addressing the systematic causes of homelessness, if this is going to be the boogeyman that everybody wants to focus on, like, then why not address it?
In Seattle, it kind of is the boogeyman because it's causing real problems. And this is not just a figment of these people's imagination. It's become a real issue. There's been battles at the city council over this. I mean, that have been gone really, really hostile. And, so you might check it out. I'm kind of getting a little tired.
Oh, hey, no worries, man.
By the way, you never did check out the Dub Syndicate's Stoned Immaculate. You say that you have an interest in good stoner music.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think, yeah. The Dub Syndicate.
What was it called?
The Dub Syndicate, and it's
Dub
called
Syndicate?
Stone Immaculate. And think about, are you familiar with a group called King Crimson?
Yeah.
Okay. Dub Syndicate is like a King Crimson of reggae.
I actually have King Crimson upstairs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wear my Kraftwerk shirt all the time.
Okay, actually, you know what? We will end this on a fun note.
Okay.
What the fuck got you into reggae? Like,
right.
from my understanding, you don't smoke weed, so
No.
how's this work?
In the strangest way you can think of. Okay,
Yeah.
so I used to listen to an avant-garde ambient electronic experimental radio station.
Okay.
And one night they brought in a collection of music from the On You Sound label out of England.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm listening to it, I'm thinking, this is the freakiest crap I've ever heard. This is wild. And I thought, okay, I'm going to go buy a bunch of it. So I bought 3 albums, paid all back, volume 1, Bim Sherman, and one of the Dub Syndicates. And I played it. I thought, it was real experimental. One of the albums was entirely actually recorded backwards, except for the bass line, which ran forward through the songs.
That's fucking dope.
And then, so I started buying all of these albums from the On You Sound label. And Adrian Sherwood, who's the producer, is an absolute genius, right? Mm. And then later, I discovered Bob Marley. And I thought, wait, if this sounds kind of the same, but it's a lot more commercial sounding, right?
Yeah.
So I'm a huge reggae fan, but I came through it through the avant-garde experimental range. And
that's cool.
Now, one of the interesting deals is Johnny Rotten's daughter is one of the lead singers for a lot of the On You Sound reggae cuts.
No shit.
Oh yeah, her name is Ari Up, and she used to be the lead singer for the Slits, which is a punk band from England. Mm-hmm. She has no voice, but there's kind of like a Bob Dylan kind of thing about her, right? Can't sing, but you kind of like it, you know?
Yeah.
And then, so she was sort of the big deal for the On You Sound label. She did a lot of stuff. There's another guy, I'll think of his name in a moment, that I can't find anything on. He was the lead singer for a lot of the albums, but I don't know what he looks like. I don't know what happened to him, and neither does the label. Mm. So he just kind of disappeared. But Peter Tosh, yeah, I like Peter Tosh, but that's pretty commercial. I mean, really good, but it's not.
Wow, you really are you're like a punker for reggae. I love it.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. But so
cool.
this On You Sound label, it's basically a bunch of collection of musicians that come in, they'll cut an album and place it under a certain name. Let's just call this from Singers and Players. Okay. So Singers and Players will come out a new album, but it's the same musicians, right? It's like an art house. And cool. So you have like 20, 30 different groups. They all share the same musicians, but the songs are wildly different. So the Dub Syndicate has a Jew's harp, like that, as the lead instrument on one of their dub tracks. So that's cool. How wild it gets.
Commercial. I mean, dude, I got to see Stephen Marley with Damian Marley this last summer, where they did the entire Exodus album. The way that they did it, though, is like it was with the Wailers, by the way, the original Wailers. So it was fucking awesome, though. Like to see that the way they retuned it, but it still was like iconic. Like, I don't know, man. Like that was something else. See, I like white guy reggae. Like I do like the white guy reggae. I'll admit it. Like I like
Stick Figure is really good. Hey, I'm
Stick
sorry.
Figure is one of my favorite bands. Expendables, Dirty Heads.
He's really good.
I love fucking Slightly Stupid. Like Revolution's actually my favorite band.
Okay,
if you've never checked them out. I mean, Revolution. Yeah, they're fucking sick, dude.
I haven't been able to stay on the contemporary track much. My it's kind of like a person who listens to a lot of oldies,
I get,
but
you know what? I get that. I actually, I'm turning 40 this year, and I get that. I'm starting to get there myself, where I'm like, I like Bad Bunny. Like I listen to a lot of Bad Bunny. He's probably the most contemporary thing that I listen to, where I'm just like, okay. But then I'm just like, I'm still going to go back to what I love. It's the same stuff that I've been listening to for 20 plus years, at least.
yeah, I became a reggae DJ probably a few years after that, and
I did not know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, I interviewed Mikey Dread. I've interviewed Alpha Blondie.
Man,
Not Noah House of Dread. Naya Bingy Theocracy is another one. They were based out of Portland. In fact, I drove through Portland trying to find a studio, and I probably spent 4 hours trying to find it, never could, and just wasted 4 hours of my time because I wanted to at least shake the guy's hand because, and then Sons of Arca is another strange one. Sons of Arca is more world beat, but it's also part of this, people coming into the house and just recording and things like that. And it basically comes out of India. And the Sons of Arca, and this SUNS, Sons of Arca, a really interesting
SUNS of ARQA.
QA, yeah,
okay,
yeah. Now they have worked with the On Your Sound label. Then Prince Farai was a Jamaican. He went and he sang for a lot of the On Your Sound stuff, and I would call him like the what's Armstrong's first name? The singer.
Neil?
No, not okay. Maybe he does sing.
I was like, what?
Louis Armstrong. He has the same gravelly voice as Louis Armstrong, but
Louis Armstrong. Yeah. Louis Armstrong.
Now, unfortunately, a lot of these people were murdered. I mean, Peter Tosh.
Yeah.
There's just been a lot of
Actually, Jimmy Cliff is another one where you're just like, oh shit.
yeah. Oh, I loved that movie that he was in. The Harder They Come, I think is what the name of it. But yeah, I mean, I got heavy into the reggae. I have probably about 400 albums.
That's fucking great. See, this is what, like, honestly, man, like after all this discussion, I think that's why you're a fascinating character to me. Like, where I'm just like, how?
But keep in mind,
how? Like, how do you do it? How do you? Sorry.
There's a lot of people who will refuse to listen to certain music because they don't like the politics of the singer. I'm not one of them.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Reggae is a lot about politics. Fucking Christ almighty.
A
lot of it is literally about anti-authority. Like it's I see it almost as like the punk rock of fucking, like horns and chill vibes.
Well, and one of the singers for the On Your Sound is Mark Stewart from the pop group. He's really hard leftist, but his song when it was with Mark Stewart. Gary Clayle is another one that came out of the hard left, kind of the punk rock scene that sings for the On Your Sound label. So the On Your Sound label has a large collection of punkers and local, misfits or whatever. Almost all of them from the really hard left.
I'll be honest, man. You got me into this. This is going to pretty much be my summer music here. So if there's anything to come from this today, that is fucking. I got some sick ass music to listen to, which is striking to me. One more question for you. I did want to know,
let me put one more in there.
Yeah.
Gary Clale's "Food, Clothes, and Shelter" is industrial funk, and it is a badass song. And the players on it are Doug Wimbish, who's a very famous bass player for the Rolling Stones, and also the people from the Sugar Hill Gang record studio. So there's Keith LeBlanc from Sugar Hill Gang. He's also on that album. Check out Gary Clale, "Food, Clothes, and Shelter." But really, the song by Dub Syndicate called "Stone Immaculate," it's about Jim Morrison because Jim Morrison had a book called that, and Jim Morrison has a voiceover on the song.
Wow, shit,
Yeah,
dude.
from the Doors.
Dude,
Right.
that's sick. What do you think of Chris Christopherson? Do you
Oh,
like
I
his
mean the
music
old
at all?
actor.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, no, not actor. Like him as a musician. I'm not sure if you knew his music.
oh,
Like,
Chris is a well-known musician.
yeah,
It that kind of folk thing, kind of like a Gordon Lightfoot type of stuff. Yeah,
yeah,
I really
yeah.
like that stuff, and I really love Gordon Lightfoot. I
Have
think
you?
he's
Do you know
phenomenal.
Jesse Wells?
No, I
Oh,
don't think
check out
so.
Jesse Wells. He's a YouTube folk artist that, like, dude, he releases songs like on the fucking weekly that are bangers, like just banger after banger, and they are, some of them are politically charged, but he claims he's like apolitical dash, likes to just kind of focus on like bringing the classes together, and also just point out the whole bullshit of the system. So like he's awesome. I know you'd probably vibe with him.
Okay, I'll check that out. Have you heard Gothic Country?
No, I have not.
Okay, there's an offshoot
Man,
of country called
one more.
Gothic Country that's
Gothic country.
primarily really dark and about hangings and shootings and stuff. So,
I'm for
and-
it, dude. You just gave me my summer playlist.
well, yeah, and it's what's interesting about it is they're almost all foreign bands. There's almost no Americans in the Gothic Country genre, and it's probably the closest thing to true country that we have now, because country's gone real pop, right? I can't
Yeah,
stand
it has. We were just talking about that yesterday. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
I hate it. I mean,
well, let me guess. You're like a Conway Twitty type.
yeah, well, the Conway Twitty was more for females, but yeah, I do like him, but it was more. But I mean,
Johnny, Jesus Christ,
Buck Owens and all that kind of stuff. But the Gothic Country is very much uses that old country song, but the songs are all about hangings. And you ever heard the song "Streets of Laredo"? About the shooting of a guy, they're burying him, like that's typical. But that's Marty Robbins way back.
No.
But yeah, Gothic Country, Graveyard Train is probably the most well-known band, but also Heavy Horses. Heavy Horses has a song that is so dark that I don't think they should have been even allowed to produce it. I mean, I looked at this, read it, and I thought, oh, come on. I mean, look, I grew up with the Dead Kennedys, right? So you had, kill the
fair enough,
poor, and
yeah.
I killed children and all that kind of stuff. But that song by the Heavy Horses is disturbing.
Well, I mean, you just kind of you just remind me that the Dead Kennedys had that fucking song where it's like, oh yeah,
I saw them. I saw them
wild.
in a town where they had to shut it down because the crowd because I grew up in the punk scene. I mean, that's primarily where I come from.
What the fuck, Johnny? This is so weird to me.
Oh, I'm huge.
We grew up,
Huge.
we hung out in similar circles, man. I saw the Misfits too. Oh
Okay.
my god,
I saw them
about 6 years ago now, but yeah.
My favorite band of all,
Fucking
of
A,
any
man.
band, is the Dickies. I absolutely love the Dickies. Don't say that, take that wrong, okay? I don't want no editing on that. But the Dickies, I've seen them probably 12 times. They're still playing, and they're phenomenal. And I would call them a fun punk band. But I grew up on the Stranglers, the Damned, the Clash, and all that kind of stuff.
The fuck?
There's a song by Raw
No, I'm
Power.
just saying, like, dude, we keep like, you're gonna get us TOS knocked just from listening punk bands.
I guess I should
Fucking
be more
Christ.
Rancid. I remember them. Yeah.
Yeah, Rancid's the shit, dude. Rancid's the shit.
Yeah, there
Fucking
was
A, man.
a fantastic documentary on the group called The Fall. Now they were a band out of England that was so toxic that their bandmates would end up fighting each other on stage. And they're throwing instruments at each other and all that kind of stuff. If you want to watch a really cool documentary on the Fall, I wasn't even that familiar with the band, to be honest. But when I watched it, I go, holy cow. And I thought the punk bands that I listened to were tough, rough, and all that. But no, the Fall was pretty crazy. Rancid, yeah. And then there
I was about to say, yeah, Rancid is one of like, those are like one of my go-tos growing
Agent
up.
Orange. I play Agent
Yeah.
Orange all the time.
No Effects is one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, that's a kind of a second generation, I think it 90s, 2000s, something.
No,
like
they were
that.
80s. They were late 80s.
Really? They go that far? Oh, because I don't recall them being on the scene in the early, mine is 76 to like maybe 85, and then I
Yeah,
think the
actually,
second
funny enough,
generation.
I think 85, 86 is when they started.
Oh, really? Okay. I
Yeah.
still would call them second generation, though. I don't
Yeah,
know if
they
I'd
were.
call them
That's
first.
fair, but that doesn't
Mhm.
like take away from the merits
No.
of. I mean, fuck, Rise Against is third generation. They're great. Although some people don't even call them punk, but I do. I mean, I
Okay.
consider punk fucking being anti-establishment and fucking going balls to the wall.
Yeah, pretty much anti everything. Slapshot is a fantastic band. I don't know if you've heard them,
No.
but you ought to check out Slapshot out of Boston.
Mm.
And they, I mean, fantastic song. And I don't mean like they're just nasty. I mean, really good songs. I mean, you know what I mean? Like some of the bands.
It's a movie too. It's one of my favorites.
Mhm. Bad Religion, kind of. I don't know if I'd call them punks. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, Bad Religion. I was really into them for a while.
Yeah, they were
I'm
totally
reading the
punk.
chat
What are you
thing,
talking
but
about? Like,
boy,
I mean, hey man, this is well, that was exactly how I would want to end this, man. Like I do I'm sorry for putting you on the spot, but
nah,
I
that's
did
okay.
like realistically, man, like there were a few things that like through numerous discussions I kind of put like almost on a list where I was like, all right, I want to ask him about this. I want to ask him about this. And this was like I thought like the perfect forum where for it where, you know, battlefield of ideas, even though, like this is where I now feel bad. This is where I'm not sure if like some of the right wing like debate spaces kind of like get it. Cause also, to be fair, a lot of like this type of content is done with like a moderator, but this isn't necessarily planned as a debate. Like this was a discussion where I was just expressing my genuine curiosity for your like how you came to your I guess life opinions. um
Well, we are all products of our environment. The way we are is
yeah.
based on our experiences. Um,
Yeah, but that's where
but
I try not to be just that. I like to learn. Like I am all about learning and growing and just admitting where if I was wrong, I was wrong, or if I was ignorant, I was ignorant. Like I pride myself on that kind of stuff where it's like, no, I never need to be the smartest or like the only person that's right in the room. Like I don't need to do that.
I need to be the person that's right in the room every time.
Fuck that. How exhausting is that? Could you
It's
imagine?
exhausting.
God damn. Like what a fucking ego. Like actually going to Rashad. There you go. Like it's just got to be exhausting to always just be like, oh yeah, I have this extra accreditation. You got to prove that it's fake. I don't fucking think so. What's up? Well, Johnny, I really appreciate you being here tonight.
And thanks for having me on. I appreciate it, and I enjoyed this. I mean, I really did. Even though the people in the chat don't really care for me too much, but that's okay. I enjoyed it, and maybe we can do it again, and maybe we
No,
can
we're gonna
talk
do this
about
again.
some more
And
music.
honestly, I'm not even kidding about you giving me my summer playlist. That's fucking. I am going to wrestle with this for a while, and you can expect a few emails from me asking some more recommendations because the fact that you are a fucking like a reggae head, and I mean a true reggae head, like, and
Oh yeah.
I obviously am part of the culture. I've gone out of my way, but listen, I'm a poser compared to you, brother. So I really appreciate that.
Well, check out the On You Sound label, especially the early stuff from the like 1978, maybe 1980 on.
Mm.
Um, Wildly experimental. I always called them the Pink Floyd
And
of reggae.
when you say experimental, were you like into Alan Parsons? Like Jesus,
Alan Parsons was pretty commercial actually, but
what
no,
the
not.
fuck?
Yeah, I mean, keep in mind, I have albums where it's nothing but cricket noises, and I even had an album that was nothing but scratches. They scratched the thing up, and I bought it, and I played it and just okay, whatever. And by the way, that's Burial, who is one of my favorites out of England. He uses the scratchy sound of an LP as an actual effect on a lot of his songs. It's pretty neat the way he does it.
Man,
But no, my interest in music were wild. Just but keep in mind, back in the day, we couldn't listen to what we were going to play. If you saw an album, you had no way of
I know.
listening to it.
I
So
remember.
what you
Yeah.
did was,
I mean,
you
believe it
bought
or not, I had that same thing before we could listen to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you bought something because it looked weird and it
Yeah.
had a cool sounding name. I didn't know who the Stranglers were, but I thought,
Yeah.
Stranglers, that's got to be good. And turned out, yeah, they're awesome.
Yeah. Buying it from the album cover alone. One of my favorite stories is the fact that one of my first albums I ever chose was the Billy Joel album that had "In the Middle of the Night." Like,
okay, we're gonna hate him.
Oh, see,
I
the
cannot
thing
handle
is,
Billy Joel. What's
you
that?
hate Billy Joel, but yeah, that was one of my first
I'm not a
albums
fan
that
of
I
anything
ever.
coming out of the New Jersey thing.
Really?
I don't even like Lou Reed that much, to be honest with you. But Lou Reed, Billy Joel's, Bruce Springsteen, not my thing, not at all.
Wow.
And John Cougar Mellencamp and the Americana,
He was
can't
Indiana.
stand it. And I will say this: I am definitely not a fan of Southern rock. Hate it. I
Really?
won't listen to Creedence. I won't listen to Leonard Skinner or anything like that. And Freebird is one of my most absolutely hated songs. So I know I catch a lot of flack over that one, but I just can't deal with it. Okay. Some of you guys like Billy Joel, but you'll never convince me.
I know some people are East Coasters. All right, brother. Well, I
All
do
right.
appreciate having you on here tonight, man. You were a good sport about this, for real. I really do
Okay.
appreciate
Hey,
it. I will
email
keep in touch
me
here.
what you think about that playlist. I'd be kind of curious
Oh
as to what
fuck,
you think.
dude! No, you expect it. As I
Food,
said, I
clothes, and
wasn't even
shelter.
kidding. Before I get off here tonight, I'm gonna put this all on my Spotify playlist, and then yeah, it's going from there, man.
Stoned Immaculate. Check it out. It's not
Stoned
necessarily the best, but it's definitely conveys what I'm saying.
Stoned Immaculate is the album, right? Yeah.
No, it's the name of the song and album by the Dub
Wait, it says
Syndicate.
here.
The Dub Syndicate is the best reggae band in the world.
Oh, here we go. Dub Syndicate. Yeah, there we go. I got it. All right, cool.
All right,
All right,
take it easy,
Johnny.
guys. Thanks everybody in the chat, even if you didn't like me.
Nah, it's all right, man. All right, thanks for being a good sport, brother. I'll catch you later. All right, guys. I appreciate you all having Johnny on, and no, bro. I know that you guys he was interacting with chat a little bit more than I thought he was going to. So that was interesting. We will do a wrap up on, I'm gonna wrap this up now, but we will do a discussion on this tomorrow. I will be streaming on my channel, so make sure you guys are there. Just keep your notifications on. It's going to be more of a random time, hopefully around 6 p.m. Central here. Well, that happened. Dang. I mean, listen, guys, I'm not going to lie. There are a few times where I was just like, oh, Jesus, fuck. It's like, oh, no. Oh, no. On a Thursday. Yes, on a Thursday. Yeah. I don't know how long of a show it's going to be. We'll see. But yeah, I'm going to be there. Yeah, Latino. Man, Latino. He was focusing on your comments like a lot. I wanted to say something, but I was just like, I'm just going to leave it there. You landed the plane, Pep. Thank you. I know. I feel like I landed that with one wing. Just bring it back. I don't know, guys. How do you think I did without having a mediator? I I kind of feel like that would have been beneficial, but at the same time, realistically, I don't think that would have been fair because, yeah, he didn't want to do necessarily a straight debate, but I don't know, man. I had to challenge him on a whole bunch of that stuff, so I hope I did an all right job. I know that I fucked up on a few things, but again, we'll do the wrap up tomorrow. It's been real, it's been fun, but it ain't been real fun. Fucking Mitch. Thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Well, it wasn't a debate, so you didn't need a mediator. That's what I thought. Listen, I know. Had it been more of a debate, Oh, Sylvie. Uh-oh. I have a feeling you got critiques for me. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Now I'm going to feel bad about myself for not being better. You were cool. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah. I'll be honest, guys. I wasn't necessarily trying to sell him on you. That was not the point. So, yeah, I only caught the last half, but boy, did it catch my attention. Well, I hope that's the case. I hope that it catches I hope it catches everybody's attention. And producer Nick, I hope that you chop that one up and get that one out there. Yeah, don't be afraid to screen capture some like us from any point in that, and then if you need to pepper in whatever you need to. But yeah, guys, engagement. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, can I leave tonight feeling better that I left something for this space that was content that that, yeah, it'll be out tomorrow, Pep. Don't worry. Yeah, let's go. All right. No, I appreciate that, guys. All right. So we have been here for overtime. I think that this might be one of the latest shows that I've been on this space. I know Left Past 10 has always been good about this stuff, but it's time for me to wrap it up because your boy's got to pee. So I do appreciate you guys. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for engaging. And also, yeah, like I said, I was not expecting him to re-chat that much. There were parts where I kind of felt like he was debating you guys, but also thank you for leaving me that out to go take a pee before or like halfway through because I needed that too. All right, but that being said, guys, wait, I wasn't sure if it was a debate or not. I started editing my social media post halfway through to say that it was a debate. The thing is, full disclosure, I told him, yes, we're going to continue our discussion. Yes, I want to like have a discussion about the Carmelo thing, but I told him it was going to turn into a debate, and he told me we can market it any way we want. So don't be afraid to put right versus left. Do whatever the fuck with it. He will not care. And honestly, I don't either. Let's do this. Let's clickbait the shit out of this one and get some people here. How about that? So his audience, yeah, I know, mouses, I know. Guys, make sure you do show up for the show tomorrow. I will be addressing all of this like at the beginning of the show, and we will go for it, okay? Pep and Chat both delivered. Natch, hell fucking yeah, we did. But with that being said, guys, I do got to run. Appreciate y'all hanging out tonight. Hit that like button on your way out, and I will catch you guys tomorrow for special High on Politics. And yeah, catch me next week on PEPAGANDA if you do not make that. So I will catch you guys later. Peace.
Who the heck is Pep Talks?
I'm not gay, but I fantasize about Marco Rubio. Pep Talks. Pep Talks. Pep Talks. Let's eradicate the Kung Flu. I'm literally coming. Pep Talks. Pep Talks.
Who the heck is Pep Talk?
They want our women. They want our children.
Pep Talks.
Sometimes no means yes. Grab them by the
Pep Talk.
Grab them by the Marco Rubio. Obama is a racist.
Pep Talks.
I'm literally coming. I'm literally coming.
Pep Talks.
We found weapons of mass
Pep Talks.
destruction. My fellow Americans, it has been confirmed today from Pep Talks that we are indeed all high on politics.